Spider-Man fans, swing on over here because you're not going to want to miss this. Everyone, please give a big, huge San Diego Comic-Con welcome to the writer behind Amazing Spider-Man, Zeb the Zamboni World! How does it feel to continue now 20 plus years writing Spider-Man stories?
It's an honor and a privilege, and it's weird to know that you're at the pinnacle of what you'll do in the industry, because it won't get better than this. Because it won't get better than this. Because it won't get better than this.
You serious?
All right, let's do this one last time.
There had been, sort of a suggested 6 months of him just being depressed and not doing too much Spider-Manning, everyone being upset with him, and him not being in a mood to mend fences.
Real quick, can you tease about Kamala's role in this series coming up?
She will play a big part in Dark Web, and then we have big plans for her in the second year of Amazing Spider-Man.
It finally feels like it's all about to go wrong for Norman in that last page.
Yeah, he's having a hard time, and I think that was the challenge. Can we get it to a place where not only is it surprising if he does go back, but people are bummed?
Yeah, so we have Ben Reilly, who has gone to the villainous side as Chasm, and he's coming back for a little bit of revenge on Peter Parker.
He hated me with a passion. This is starting to sound like a bad comic book plot. It gets worse.
What are you most excited for fans to see in upcoming issues of Amazing Spider-Man?
How Spider-Man gets in his bad mood at the beginning of Spider-Man's first hunt, I really am excited for people to see.
And now it's just, how does everything we've set up play out? And that is always really fun, because you have just a bunch of balls in the air, and it's fun to see how many of them you can land and stick the landing on.
Wait! I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zeb.
No way.
You brought
no
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
Out! There.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him, like, burned and... Well,
I don't even know who that guy is.
Free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Oh, and we are here. It is Friday night. It is another episode of The Good, the Mad, the Ugly. How are you doing, everybody out there? How are my friends doing, my viewers, everybody else who might be stopping by the show? What's going on? It is me, your host, Spencer Mav, editor of Bounding Into Comics. However you might know me, I'm here. I'm happy to be hanging out with you guys. And yeah, I'm happy to be back for another show. We actually have some more stuff to talk about, as always. Lots of coolish stuff, actually. Stuff that'll probably spark some debates among everybody. But aside from that, I'm just, it's been a good week. Obviously, a very, very busy week over here on the Kabuto Studios end with bounding work and foil variant stuff, and then just sort of end of the year administrative stuff for bounding, end of year reports. All the boring stuff is happening now, but unfortunately that takes me away from time that I can spend working on the layout, right? So we are still here. We are still on this old layout because I still have to put some finishing touches. My friend Steven pointed out that because I'm avoiding 52 until we're ready, my naming scheme has now gotten to the point of like Evangelion movies, like episode 51.75 cannot redo. So hopefully we can knock that out before the end of the year, but if not, just heads up for special tease for everybody who was here early. We're going to start getting weirder and weirder title names because I definitely want to lean into that meme. But that's all for the future. That's for when we get our cool new layout going that I think all of you guys are really going to like. You're all going to see some things you think are pretty cool. There's going to be some shout outs. It's going to be great. I'm really excited for you all to see it. But again, not here, not now. It is Friday. It is what is this, the first Friday of December, I think, like officially? Yeah, this is weird. I just looked at the calendar. This is a month that actually starts on like a Sunday. Sunday is the first, so all the weeks line up. That's pretty cool. But yes, Friday, the first Friday of the month. Yes, Sammy, my boy, he says it is Friday. He is confirming that. Thank you, Sammy. And with that, Ben, before we get into anything tonight, we're going to talk a lot about some Marvel Rivals because I am all in on this game. We are going to talk, maybe not talk comic books because, guys, if you don't know, Thursday nights, oh, God, I'm doing it again, Andrew. Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Central Time, so I believe that's 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time. I'm so bad with times, guys. But every Thursday, Andrew and I go live over on the channel Foil Variant. You can find a link down in the description. You can also just type that into the search bar. Very easy, very simple. Every Thursday, we talk about the new releases of the week or any other comic book thing we kind of want to talk about. Last night, we had our weekly show. We went 4 hours without sort of realizing it. So there is a big show if you guys want more comic books. We covered the last 2 weeks of it all. There's just some stuff I kind of want to, it's mostly just art. There's a couple pages that I want to show you guys that I'm like, oh, this is so good. So if Andrew is still here, I know he was, we'll get into that. But before we get into and of course we'll talk Mobile Suit Gundam Cuck. I genuinely don't know how to pronounce this title, but new Gundam is in the works. It has been announced. We will definitely be talking about that. And then, as always, guys, if there's anything else, most of you guys who have been here before, you know how this show works. It's an open forum. I want to talk to you guys. We're here to scrub off, wash off the crap and the stink of all the awful news and drama and everything we have to suffer through as nerds across the week. I'm here on Friday to hopefully get your guys' weekend started on a positive note. So grab a drink, grab whatever you're going to do. Let's hang out. And before we do, let's say hello to the chat. As you guys might have already known, I jumped a little bit ahead, but my boy Sammy Threepeat is here. Guys, if you don't know Sammy, he is a regular guest over on Leon's channel, Words of Paradise. He is a regular content creator in his own right. He has a bunch of good live streams. One in particular that I know he's working on that I'm not going to blow up his spot, so I'll wait for him to announce it, but I'm really excited and looking forward to seeing what comes out of this project. But aside from that, also a good musician, a really good musician. But he's also my boy. He's also Sammy. So what's going on, my man? Weird. Don't worry, I'm not sick. That was legitimately like a throat clear. We're okay, guys. Who do we have next? We have my boy Sakura Mita, Tropica Shine. Oh my gosh, I think that might be legitimately the first canonical mention of Pretty Cure on this stream. And honestly, a good pick for the Pretty Cures. If you guys don't know, Pretty Cure is essentially a female-oriented Sentai type thing, right? It's every year they have a new series, just like Sentai, just like Kamen Rider, and the girls always have new themes. They transform, they do henshins into like magical girl forms. It's a lot of fun. It's obviously a little more younger-oriented, not like 4-year-olds or whatever, but 12, 13, 14. But it's still pretty enjoyable, and I enjoy it a lot myself, Sakura. That's a good season in particular because I don't know what it is, but when Japan wants to like anthropomorphize like fruit and tropical stuff, it always really works because there's Tropica Shine and then there's Kamen Rider Game, which I know Kamen Rider Game got unwieldy near the end, but we really cannot deny the fact that like the game designs are great. Like I am such a big fan of like fruit samurai stuff. So yeah, no, always a good season to point out, Sakura. I'm going to push back, or I'm going to let you know something which is probably not surprising if you guys have checked. If you're a regular viewer here or my friend, you probably aren't going to be surprised by this. But my favorite Cure of that season was Cure Wave, because you guys know me. I love my tomboys, my blonde tan tomboy type characters. That's exactly where I always hit. So yes, good mention of oh my god, of Pretty Cure. I don't know why I blanked right there. Eventually, once things sort of settle down, I do want to talk Toku more. I do have a couple friends. There is a Toku show I am working on with a good buddy of mine. Cider is always good for discussing Power Rangers or Sentai or anything. So someday we'll talk about it more. But until such time as I can spread the gospel, we'll probably not get there officially. I'm just kidding. I mean, I talk about it all the time. There's no strict rubric to this show. We can talk about whatever. We have Punk. What is going on? Freaking Punk is here saying, I'm going to take a guess that Spencer fell asleep or technical issues. Actually not. I was around. I was ready to go. The problem was I realized 3 seconds before we went on that I was still wearing my workout gear. And normally that's not a problem, but I've worn my workout gear for the last like 4 streams, like my gray workout thin runner's hoodie. And I feel like I deserve, you guys deserve a little more presentation and a little more effort out of me, right? So that extra 10 minutes was actually running around my room trying to find a shirt that was not completely wrinkled because I did laundry yesterday and I haven't gotten to it yet. So to that point, Andrew's here asking, what is that shirt, nerd? This is actually a Superior Spider-Man workout, like runner under sleeve thing. So I specifically bought it because it was Superior Spider-Man, and at the time he was like brand new and nobody had any merch of him, but I was like, I like this idea. Again, screw Dan Slott and what he does with the character, but when somebody like Christos Gage gets on it, actually a pretty good time back then. So this is one of my favorites. It was one of the ones that was not whatchamacallit. It was neither wrinkled nor light blue or teal or anything like that, because if I wear a color like that, no surprise, I'm going to blend into the green screen. I mean, you guys see when I drink my either my green or my blue drinks in the can, they fade right into the background. So that's why I was a little bit late, but no technical issues. I'm actually very, very proud of myself this week. And Andrew, if he's here, he'll know what I'm talking about. No tech issues. Like legitimately, even last night when we were doing foil variant, no tech issues on our end. At one point during the stream, YouTube farted and it like stuttered for like 2 minutes, but that wasn't on us. So yeah, no, I'm getting better at this, guys. Doing all the work on the layout has taught me what things I need to uncheck, what things I need to, pay attention to. We have Shinkai. What's going up, Shinkai, my Pokemon Oreo eating amigo? If you don't know what I'm talking about, go join the Kabuto Studios Discord. The link is down in the description. As always, it is only going to last for about 6 hours, so get it while it's hot. If you missed the invite this time, as always, it'll be in every description of every other video I am on, so it will be on the descriptions for foil variant, the descriptions for this show next week. So no worries if you miss it this time, but we'd love to have you. We'd love to talk to you. Shinkai says, gently landing, gently kiss the ground like you're kissing your sister, proceeds to crash the plane. Oh, man. Again, I love, obviously I've been using that Wells intro for about, like a month now, ever since his run ended, because I made that special for when he was finally off of Spider-Man. But the point of that was to just sort of highlight how absurd his, I don't want to say mentality, but like the way he was hyping everything up, right? Like, I can't wait to see how these all land. I can't wait for everybody to see this. And it's like, nobody liked this. Like, absolutely nobody liked this. Let me see if I can find this real quick, because it keeps making me laugh. And, browser. Let's see. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys know the comic book news website AIPT Comics. Just another news website. They're more they're less like a CBR or a comic book, which makes a bunch of just stupid articles all day, and they actually do like industry news, reviews, solicits, all that sort of stuff. But the other week, Marvel finally dropped the trade paperback for the story arc in Wells' run that I always refer to as the Spider-Man Who Laughs, where Peter goes completely. If you guys remember, if you're a longtime viewer, it's that storyline where, like, Kraven stabs Peter with Norman's sins, and Peter turns into a goblin, and then he goes back for a second, but then he becomes a goblin again, and it's dumb. It's just dumb straight down. But on AIPT, let's hop over to our web. Oh, let me make sure we're going to go to the right browser, because I have one that is open that I need. It's a work one, so it's boring. But you guys don't want to see that anyway. It's boring. It's just numbers and payments and all that sort of fun stuff. So let's hop over to our good old-fashioned web talk window. But here is the... Oh, sorry, Shinkai, I'm going to have to take down your comment because it's covering it up. But here's the review. And so Amazing Spider-Man by Zeb Wells, Volume 11, Going Green review, their subline, like their meta description, you already know how you feel about this run. Like, and then the rest of the review is like, everybody, you know what this is. Everybody hates it already. What are we doing? Like, do you really need me to review it? And I've been laughing because it's like nobody can find anything good. I mean, the art was great because Ed McGuinness, as we all remember, my man, the art on that was great, but everything else is so bad. And so this is one of those things that will, like, in the tough times, it's going to make me keep, whatchamacallit, I'm going to keep like thinking back to it in the tough times to give me the strength to go on, if you will, the joy de vivre. Before we move on, before I say hi to more people, as always, you guys know we have a stream buddy. Tonight's stream buddy is a drawing of magic. My girl, absolutely love her. This outfit is hands down one of the best ever put onto page, but it is done by a artist named Shogo Aoki. He is a Japanese artist. He's done one cover for Marvel. He does, occasional media. He's done some stuff for Viz, but if you want, how should I best bring this up? You know what? I can do this because I gotta go to my channel, guys. I gotta pull up the chat so I can leave a comment and then I can highlight it and then you guys can all know what I'm talking about. Blah-biddy 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 blah. Live. We are live. So I just click on that one. Here we go. I got that. So if you guys want, if you follow me on Twitter, you might have noticed that on my account, I've been retweeting a couple art pieces. They are from this artist. They are all like anime-styled Rogues or Jubilee or Magic or Emma Frost. I just really love their art. So that's why Magic's hanging out with us tonight. Obviously, also in tribute to her being in Marvel Rivals and being one of the absolute coolest characters in that game. So if you guys would like to see more of their gallery, and I highly recommend you do, here is their... This is their Twitter account at Son20... I'm just going to spell it out in case anybody's listening and not looking. At SONNE20304 over on Twitter. I refuse to call it X because Elon's a dip, but follow them. They make amazing work. It's always bright. It's always vibrant. It's great. I really like it. So that's our stream buddy for tonight. Go check them out right there. And back to the show. So, back to saying hi to everybody. Yep, there's Sammy saying it's the first Friday of December. Shinkai saying, I should do this too. This is a really good idea, Shinkai. Thinking naming streams like Kingdom Hearts games. Where's 51.x with a accent over it? No, that's a really good idea. Now I don't want to get any work done on the layout because it's going to, I'm not going to be able to use that joke. Yep, Punk, it is TGIF. I hope you guys all made it through the week. It was, you know what? This is a personal bent, and maybe you guys share this sentiment, but in December, I tend to feel like, at least in America here in your local group, like, your neighborhoods, your city or whatever, it always just feels nicer, happier a little bit. I don't know. I genuinely feel like the Christmas season makes everybody sort of let bygones be bygones, let their arms down for just a little bit. And so, like, even when a week is hard in December, it's always kind of chill. It's always kind of like, yeah, that was a rough week, but whatever. As soon as we get to January, we're going to have drama all over the place. But for now, I'm enjoying the Christmas season. So, TGIF, I hope everybody had a great week. If it wasn't a great week, I hope you at least got through it and, without any significant damage. And if you're here, I'm glad you're here. Let's see. Sakura Mita says, to be honest, I'm stuck on PS4. PS5 Pro was a letdown. We're talking about Marvel Rivals. Oh, that's so unfortunate, Sakura, because you know what? First thing I'm going to say, as always, is I recommend everybody get a PC. in this, and I'm not doing the PC, master race bit, but just generally best bang for your buck is going to be a PC nowadays, because everybody save Nintendo is releasing everything for PCs. And if you are like me and you happen to consider yourself a friend of Luffy, if you will, then that just opens up so many more avenues to you. Like, I have my PC and my Switch. I haven't gotten a Series XS, whatever it is, for Xbox, and I haven't gotten a PS5 because there's just nothing that justifies the price, right? And like, I'm with you, Sakura, especially with the PS5. There's no game on there. There's no reason for me to just go buy that console over anything else. Yes, I'm going to miss out on probably like Astrobot. That's about it. All the like Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Miles Morales, that all came to PC. Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will eventually go. We all know it. They just need to fucking do it. I'm so angry. If you guys remember, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the second entry in the remake trilogy, it came out earlier this year in like February or late January. And on all the trailers, and I see Andrew's back here, so he knows exactly what I'm about to rage about. On all the trailers, it says PS5 exclusivity window until May 2024. So May came and went. We are now in damn December, and we still do not have a damn oh my gosh, why did I just blank on that? We do not have a PC release date for Rebirth, and it keeps driving me insane. We got a PC release date for 16, and it came out before we ever got a damn Rebirth announce date. And I know it's coming. We all know it's coming because the first one's there. Square has come out, like the president has come out and been like, we need to be better about multi-platform. It's just like, come on already, you bastards. Oh no, there is no link. Dante, Sammy, Dante. Oh, let me take care of that. I farted. Sometimes these things get like automatic in your head, so like I do it every week for foil variant, and I must have just brain farted. So let's see. Generate that link. Copy that link. Go to YouTube. Edit video. And we will... Oh my god, it is completely blank. I'm so dumb. All right, guys. The Discord link is there now. Come and hang out if you would like. If not, no worries. But back to what we were saying. Shinkai says, oh, don't know people here like Pretty Cure. Only seen Futariwa Pretty Cure and liked it. Loved black and white cures. Yes, I agree with you on that one. And shouldn't be too surprising because this is... If you're hanging out on this stream, you know what the stream is probably about, and it's about anime, it's about weebery, it's about tokusatsu, so it's about comic books, video games. So more often than not, if there's something you guys are like nerdy and into, we can probably talk about it here. We can absolutely get into it, except for, you guys know this, the one probably area of expertise I don't have is like fantasy. Outside of Lord of the Rings, I do not care for sword and sorcery, so that's where my knowledge ends. But hey, we can talk about Lord of the Rings forever. Speaking of Dante, Dante is here saying, evening, folks. Evening, Dante. He says, I finally watched the first episode of Penguin the other night and turned it off halfway through. Utter trash. That's crazy. I haven't watched it yet because I still have not watched The Batman, and I'm just one of those completionists like that. But I've only heard good things about this show. So you're actually like the first person to say it sucks. And that actually, like, I trust your opinion and I believe your opinion and I know you're being earnest. And I'm like, that's genuinely crazy. Like, Dante would not steer us wrong. So that's unfortunate. Are you going to continue it out of curiosity? I mean, I know you turned off that episode, but maybe you keep going. Who knows? Who knows at all? But let me know what you think, Dante. That is crazy. Sammy says, stop pretending like you're not Spider-Man. Bro, don't blow up my spot. There's only one Spider-Man, okay, on the internet. And it's the NPC Miles Morales. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go Google it. I do not have the vocabulary to explain TikTok culture. Yeah, Dante says, I like Superior Spider-Man. The ending was good. That's the thing, is we talk about this all the time here, is the setup, not bad. It actually was a pretty good new thing to do. Like, of course, it's going to be Doc Ock to take his mind, and let's see how this plays out. Problem was, most of the main run by Dan Slott was trash because Dan Slott doesn't know how to write, and instead of taking the characters and working with the world as they are, he has to make everybody act out of character. He has to change rules arbitrarily. None of it makes sense, and it's all dumb. Again, I'm sure regular viewers, including Dante, because I know you're here all the time, you've probably heard me go on my rant about you got the second Peter starts, or like Spider-Man starts acting like a giant dick. I would have, if I was the X-Men or if I was the Avengers, I would have been like, all right, go get Jean Grey. Go get any of the millions of telepaths. Hell, call the Guardians of the Galaxy and get Phi Lavelle down here because something is up. But instead, everybody just goes, oh, okay, that's Spider-Man now. And it's like, you're dumb, Dan. But the other stuff, you know, anytime he appeared in like a crossover or anytime he got like a mini, he's always fantastic because he's always written by somebody else. But to your point, Dante, I do enjoy the end as well. That page where... Here, I can actually pull it up because that's what we can do on this show because I have the power. No, I don't even know what I'm saying there. I'm just vamping until I can find what we're looking for. You know how it goes. Let's see. Dang it. Over Superior. You know what? I don't need to... Okay. Oh, I did have the right comic. I didn't have to act stupid like this at all. How dare I? Like, I'm legitimately good. That's a bit disappointing. So, what the... Sorry, my dog's just, like, freaked out for a second over there. I don't know if you guys heard him. But, can I bring it up now? I'm just going to bring it up in the browser because... No, I'm not. Why is all of this acting stupid? Come on, give me the image. There we go. I'm sure all of you know what image I'm going for at this point. Like, it cannot be a surprise. But, there we go. Look at that. It's all pretty. It's so very, very pretty. What? Oh, this is the window we have open. All right. So... It's this page, as always, the one where after, like, Peter gets his memories back and he has that sort of, oh no! Whoopsies, I accidentally hit the intro button. That's all that happened there. That's not necessarily a tech issue. That's me being a stupid issue. But, yeah, no, this scene, for all the crap of Superior Spider-Man, this scene where Peter has that moment with Otto where Otto realizes, like, no, you are Spider-Man, gives him back over the identity, and Norman here is taunting him, and Pete throws back just the, like, one zinger, except the dignity of knowing I never carried a man purse. And Norman knows immediately, just, it's you, the one and only. Like, this is one of those scenes that I would close out, like, the Spider-Man Norman saga arc, right? Like, this would be the story scene I would end on to set up MC2 with Mayday and all that stuff, because it's just instant recognition from two foes over the dumbest little thing. Like, accept the dignity of knowing I never carried a man purse. If you guys read Superior, there was a chance that could have come out of Otto because he started learning over time to quip. But Norman knows. So, yeah, ending is great, but kind of just the rest of it not great. So Mav opened the window. Also, that magic kind of looking like a hot Snow White. Yeah, no, like it is. Whoa. Magic is hot. All the art coming out of this, out of Soichi Aoi it's like sexy cute. Like, it's not just like hentai. It's not just like a pinup. But obviously, you can see a little example of it there. Go check out his art. Yep, it's colder there in Chicago right now and a little less shooty. It's getting cold over here in Arizona as well. It's just that time of the year. I kind of like it because when I stream, it gets really hot in this room because it's Arizona and just action and heat and everything. So for these like next 2 months, I can cool down just a little bit. And so I'm going to ride that out. No. Oh, wow. Andrew says, if I'm not super interactive, it's because I'm reading and editing a Chuck Dixon script. Not to brag. First of all, don't anybody ever feel like you're obligated to interact or hang out here. I'm happy if you guys are just even having this on in the background while you play some video games, drink some wine, and whatever you're doing. So if you're here, just generally, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. But to your point, one, Ripaverse, guys, it looks like there's another Chuck book coming. I'm excited to see what it is because it's Chuck. And this is an interesting bent I wanted to bring up because let me see if I can find the cover of this so that we can talk about it. Oh no. What oh no, did I forget the name of this series? That's what it was. Okay, I was just reading it last night and I'd never heard of it. That's why I had no idea if I had gotten it right. But let's see here. Okay. Has anybody heard of this miniseries? It's called Code of Honor. It is from, I believe, like 2000. Oh, not even this is from 1996. It is written by Chuck Dixon. Don't worry, the cover art is not exactly what it is. We all kind of remember that weird period where Marvel was flirting with weird CG stuff. So this is clearly like a CG. Oh, what the fuck? What happened there? What? I don't know why it took us away from what we were talking about. That's super odd. But anyway, okay, so you have seen this, Andrew. I had never heard of this book until last night. And now follow my rabbit hole, guys, here, because it's a bit confusing, but ultimately we can get there. There is a series coming out right now called Spirits of Vengeance, and it is a crossover between all the Ghost Rider characters, from Danny and Johnny to the girl who was Ghost Rider for very briefly. I actually liked her a lot, but Marvel didn't want to use her. Oh my gosh, what's his name? Vengeance is part of this crossover. The green-headed Vengeance is also part of this crossover. But in discussing the crossover, they talk about Vengeance and they talk about how his host, Michael Battolini, is missing and they don't know where he is. And so his spirit of Vengeance is looking for him so that they can recombine and become not Ghost Rider, but Vengeance again. And I don't know a lot of Ghost Rider history. I will admit that. I know some stuff, but after Daniel Way got his hands on Ghost Rider for 5 years in the early 2000s, his run was so absolutely dog shit that I was just I don't care about Ghost Rider anymore. I don't want anything to do with you. I still like the character a lot. I love when he pops up in crossovers. I love using him in Marvel vs. Capcom. That Daniel Way series just did irreparable damage to his character. I mean, that's what Daniel Way does, right? Daniel Way comes onto a character and just sort of I don't want to say tries new things, because trying new things is good. We should all achieve, strive for originality or something that people don't see coming. But he goes for originality in the dumbest ways, right? So if you guys, I've talked about this before, but before Marvel Now in 2014, Deadpool was a Reddit meme man. That was his character. He would show up and be like, LOL epic bacon, and then he would teleport away. That was Daniel Way's fault. Daniel Way took the character Joe Kelly made, who was just a kind of wacky Deadpool like we know now, actually, and turned him into this Reddit meme machine. Same thing with Wolverine. If you guys don't remember, Daniel Way was the one who introduced that stupid plot element of Wolverine being a lupine, which was you're not human, you're more of a savage, prehistoric offshoot. It was so stupid, and they ran with it for way too long. So all that together, I'm not the most familiar with Ghost Rider. So when they're talking about Michael Battolini and they keep referencing him and they keep talking about how Vengeance has been separated from him, I go, okay, I need to at least go to the Marvel Wiki and see who this character is. Maybe I can go check out some of his old appearances and get caught up to date, which I did. I went to the Wiki. I read most of his main old issues. But then there was this entry that was before Battolini was Vengeance, he was a cop on the NYPD, and they had a link, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Is that from a Ghost Rider issue? And I clicked it, and it took me to this. So this, like I said, written by Chuck Dixon. If you guys, do you remember Marvels? Written by Kurt Busiek and illustrated by Alex Ross. It's one of the more definitive Marvel graphic novels, if you will. It's the one with the photographer who kind of you're seeing the Marvel universe and the Marvel history from his viewpoint, right? He sees things like the invasion of Galactus, the first run of Spider-Man coming out, the X-Men's first battle, things like that. So this is sort of similar to that in that it is New York City cops, and we're seeing the Marvel Universe unfold from their point of view. And you guys know Chuck Dixon, he's very, very good about writing like service members. So on one hand, you have like Battleini, who, at least as far as I've gotten, because I've got one issue left because I just got super sleepy last night. Battleini is just sort of your like normal average cop, but then you have his partner who's this like up and coming like young black officer who wanted to join the force so that he could do good and change the perception of police, and he just starts getting disillusioned because in the Marvel Universe nobody cares about the cops. They don't, when Galactus invades, they can't do anything except say like, okay, into the subway tunnels, we're evacuating. People get mad at them. And so he gets really disillusioned so he's disillusioned, and then he starts going down this uncouth path, if you will, towards a little bit of corruption. And so it's very, very interesting. I kind of do like that they used Michael Battleini and they brought him in as the, he was Vengeance first, but then they sort of retconned it a little bit. I like that. It's very interesting. It's very, I'm not going to say it's like, it's got a lot of social commentary in a good, beating you over the head way, sort of just societal observation. It's really, really good, but I'd never heard of this. And this is me, guys. This is what I do all day. I write for a comic book website. My best friend down there, he's one of my best, and we run a comic book podcast together. I sit and I read comic books all damn day, and I had no idea this existed. So it's pretty neat. If you get a chance to find it anywhere, definitely it's like worth a read. I can't imagine a trade is being printed anymore, but I heard Luffy can find it very, very, very easily. All right, but yeah, that's you mentioned Chuck Dixon, and I wanted to bring that up. I was actually going to talk to you about it earlier, like in DMs, but we're just so busy. This is like how Eternals is to most comic book fans. Most don't either know about it or remember it. No, 100%. Like, this is a weird, forgotten relic. Except, like, I feel like you're talking about the Eternals movie, and I feel like this is way better in quality than that Eternals movie. Like, not even gonna joke. If you're talking about the Eternals characters, I'd say they probably know them more because they occasionally show up ever since they tried to do like the Eternals push back like a couple years ago. But God, that movie is so bad. I really do not like that movie. Okay, yeah. And you know what? I just realized there will be a good I should take a moment on this show later to talk about a certain Eternal that, oh my God, we'll just talk about it. But, pardon me. Let's get back to what you guys are saying. Sakura Mita says, first of all, Punk says, I'm very happy with the PS4. Oh man, I love my PS4. I don't use it anymore because I've either gotten whatever game I was going to play on the PS4. It's been ported to my PC. So that's I do have my PS4 still hooked up to play my Japanese Kamen Rider games. That's not a joke. Like, where is it? On. Like this. I still pop this into my PS4. Kamen Rider Bat-Tried War Genesis. It is it's a Kamen Rider Muso. And if you guys know me, Musos are my 100,000 bazillion% jam. And so, unfortunately, because Kamen Rider's not that big over here, nobody ever brought it over, so I have to have my PS4 still hooked up for it. Hopefully someday somebody codes a decent, I don't want to say like a PS4 emulator per se, but like, I guess that's what it would be, but like a way for me to take my Blu-ray disc drive that I have over here, my external one, because computers suck nowadays, slap that disc in there and have it read it and be like, all right, we can just play it, instead of trying to build all of the shaders and all the assets and everything. So let's hope. But PS4, absolutely fantastic system. It has games. It had games until everything went multi-platform. Sammy says, Spider-Goblin could have been fine, but they beat it into the ground just like Batman Who Laughs. Yes and no. I think I think no matter what, no matter how you do a Spider-Man Goes Goblin story, it's always going to come with a level of like, are you kidding? Like, duh, oh, we've been here. Oh, evil Spider-Man, right? Like, there are, to your point, Sammy, of course, there are always ways that a good story can be told. As we know, most of the time, a bad production, a bad show, movie, book, whatever, it's the execution of the story rather than the inherent base story itself. So there were ways they could have done this right. But Wells sort of took every wrong turn to getting there, like making Norman good again, using like this weird MacGuffin that Craven's son had that nobody has ever heard of, having Peter turn physically into a goblin. That's probably the weirdest part of this to me, because we all know this. The goblin suit is not Norman's body. Like, that is very clearly a mask. It is tights. It is not him. They even show it in an Amazing Spider-Man issue in Wells's run. Like, Peter goes into his office and accidentally uncovers his old goblin gear, and it's the mask and everything. And then in the next issue, Norman's wearing it, sans mask. But for some reason, Peter gets infected with Norman's sins and turns into a goblin. It's just sort of, nothing makes sense. They're throwing everything at the wall to make it stick, and just nothing came out of it. Like, at least I agree with you with the Batman Who Laughs that they ran that shit into the ground so fast. But I think maybe you're like me. At the very beginning, at least, it was sort of cool for like that first, what was it? Dark Knights, right? Yeah. At least for Dark Knights, the concept was okay, or it was kind of neat. Seeing a Jokerized Batman being sort of the like it is Batman unhinged, unleashed, and seeing just a depraved Batman. That was cool for a second until, like you said, Sammy, they just were like, hey, everybody, he's in fucking everything. Don't you? They literally put him. I was baffled at this, and I actually laughed because I don't know who I was talking about. Like a couple weeks ago, I was talking about the Batman Who Laughs and how he got oversaturated. But this is like, I was going through my stack this week, and in my stack is this book. It is the not that one. I want to talk about that one in just a sec. But this one, the Multiversus series that's coming out of DC. It's their tie-in for the really, really terrible Smash Brothers clone. But I noticed that Batman Who Laughs is on here too, like right there above animated Batman. And I think he's a skin in Multiversus, but it's still like, of all things, you had to pull him. You've already got two Batman on here. I don't know. It's just an odd choice for Dan Mora to have thrown on there. Maybe Dan, love you, Dan. Maybe you wanted to put him there because you like him that much, and that's fine. That's cool. But it's what we're saying, right, Sammy? He's way too oversaturated nowadays. Now we don't have any comics up. So let's go back to our web window and we'll just look at that again. But yeah, like, there was nothing good about the goblin who spiders sort of from the jump. Yeah, I just, even right now, I might have to brainstorm with Andrew, and we might have to talk about, like, hey, do you think there's a way this could be pulled off? And we'll talk, and I'll bring it up later. But like right now, sitting at the top of my head, I can't think of a way that I would try to make a Spider-Man goblin story that isn't absolutely pants on head, like shitting in a diaper retarded. Right? Like magic spells, maybe there's a serum thing, and all of it just sounds dumb. Andrew says, when people think Chuck Dixon Marvel, they think okay, cool. Sorry, Andrew said there was some interference. I don't know what that was about, but it's gone now. Cool. When people think Chuck Dixon Marvel, they think Punisher. I mean, understandable, because that's what he was on for so long over there. This, like, Code of Honor not being known, I don't think that's necessarily like oh, Chuck, we're going to ignore him and we're just going to, focus on his main stuff. I genuinely think this is a victim of, like, just not getting reprinted, right? I mean, up until this year, the Amalgam comics and the DC Marvel crossovers, those were not reprinted. The only copies you could get of those in trade were from 97. So I think it's that, and I don't know why. In current year, I would posit that it probably has something to do with just general, like, the discourse surrounding policing and everything and yada yada yada. But in years past, I don't know why this hasn't gotten a cool treatment or a re-release of sorts of something. Because yeah, this was just a straight up case of like, I have never heard of this book. I know Chuck's Marvel, so I have never heard of this book. First Dark Knights Metal event was 10 for 10 for me. I really liked that event. I liked all of the alternate like dark Batman. I liked that idea. I liked all of that. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Andrew. I loved that first event. Everything else after that took the concept way too far and pushed it too hard. And for me, even though I really like his design afterwards, I genuinely hated the moment where, here, I can grab it because this one's really easy to find. Is it this one? Is it this one? Or is it this one? Let's see. Yeah, there it is. I see you. I see you. You see me. Close the ones that I don't need. All right. Like, I liked this design a lot. If you guys know me, I really like the spookier end of monsters and creations and stuff. So I like when there's mystery to them, or when it's like, I look at the Darkest Night here and it's sort of like he's so incomprehensibly evil, we cannot comprehend what he looks like. So this is sort of what we're making of it. I really like that concept. I really like that idea. I think this is super simple, black silhouette with a bat laugh and boom, cool. Problem was, the way they got here was they did this stupid shit where they like found a Bruce Wayne who was in the multiverse. He was Dr. Manhattan, and then they cut out his brain and they put Batman Who Laughs in there. And at that point, I was just like, legitimately, what are we doing here? Like, what the hell are we doing here? So yeah, there's some cool visuals from here on out after this, but this was the start of me going like, I'm taking a break from DC for like a decade. Oh no, I closed it again. I gotta stop doing that. It's just a sort of a force of habit, if you will. Is it that one? Is it this one? No, that's another one. I just want you guys to have good visuals to look at while we're hanging out, because it's so boring when streams don't do that. Where is that? That book's not even open on my screen. What? Where is that book? Okay, now it's gone. Now it's gone. And then, yeah, Sammy's got me with Metal. After that, Batman Who Laughs wore out his welcome really quickly, 100%. And then, yeah, Sakura, exactly. Just like Mighty Morphin, thanks to Saban and Hasbro, they created Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fatigue. It's something that we see a lot nowadays, especially in the era of very corporate-driven pop culture entertainment, right? Is that the second, because things are so shaky in the industries right now, by their own hand, mind you, all the video games that we've seen that are crap, movies that are crap, comic books, TV shows, all the low effort, I'm only using this because it's an IP that people will recognize type crap, or you're preaching. Everything is sort of in shambles right now. So right now, when a company realizes they have even the smallest hint of a popular hit of anything, whether it's a song, whether it's a character, whether it is a theme of like storytelling, they will run that shit into the ground. I mean, look at, Game of Thrones came out, and we are still dealing with every TV show, every movie having to be excessively dark and gritty for almost no reason. Sure, there are shows where it's appropriate, but there are other shows where it's like, why are we going that bleak? We don't really have to. That's not the genre we're in. But because everybody loved Game of Thrones, the jackasses at the top of the company board go, oh yeah, let's try and capitalize on that. Strike while the iron is hot, without realizing the iron is long dead, right? So Mighty Morphin, they go, oh yeah, everybody loves the Mighty Morphin team at the very least. That's the nostalgic one. Oh, everybody likes the Batman Who Laughs. Let's throw him into everything, right? You see it all the time. Miles Morales is a good example, right? Kamala Khan's a good example, where they go, oh, this character had a mildly good reception. Fucking put that bitch in everything. So, no, you're completely on point, Sakura. Still haven't read Death Knight's Metal or Death Metal. I think you'd like Death Metal. I think you'd like Dark Knight's Metal. I don't know about Death Metal because we don't like. Pretty much all of us here don't even like that one. But they're fun reads. I mean, Capullo's art is always awesome. So Capullo's the man. It's at least very visually entertaining to read Dark Knight's Metal or Dark Knight's Death Metal, however you want to classify it. Scott Snyder could never finish a story. Did he write this? Oh shit, he did write this. Look at that. Well, you're completely on point then, Dante, because yes, he did not finish this story well. Andrew and I talk about this all the time, but this event wraps things up really fast. Everything that was sort of in place with the DCU, like Wally's Mobius chair attachment, right? Like that was a big thing. You even saw it a couple seconds ago. He's in this issue. Where was he? Right there. He's standing next to Wonder Woman and Swamp Thing. And they just were like, okay, after one issue, you're good. Never really followed up on it. Just said, all right, you're done. One of the ones that made me really upset was, slight spoiler in case you really care that much, Dante. It's not even that big of a plot spoiler. It's just like an imagery spoiler, I guess. But at the very end of this event, when they're having their big super climactic battle, dark multiverse versus positive multiverse, Batman is revealed to like be a Black Lantern, and he's using a Black Lantern ring, and he's not alive. And they don't say anything about like how he came to get it, what it means. They just go like, oh yeah, he has it now, and he's been dead. And you go, what the, how? And then it goes, never mind, we're done with the event. Here's what was it, Rebirth? I don't think Rebirth came out of it. Whatever it was that came out of this. So your mileage may vary. Let's see. I'm just now going back and reading the stuff I collected in 2020. Joker War was badass. I don't think I read Joker War, or if I did, I don't remember it. That was in the era where I was like not entertaining any of this crap because it was so bad. Sakura says, unlike Marvel and DC, Power Rangers suffer the worst via abandoned. Yeah, the Super Sentai roots. I mean, you can also sort of say that about Marvel Comics, the DC Comics, and I want to bring up a very pertinent example that I can use to sell this, to sell my upcoming point. So, for those who aren't currently reading Marvel Comics, the X-Men, after getting booted off of Krakoa, they have rebooted. They are in a new era. As part of that era, one of the books that came out is called Exceptional X-Men, and it is about Kitty Pryde teaching that a new trio of mutants that you see back there. I know, Andrew, you're here, but this moment is so stupid that I've been using this as a reference for like ever since we read the issue because it highlights this problem like perfectly. So in this issue, Kitty Pryde, Emma comes to meet Kitty. They get in like a scuffle, and it basically ends with them both going like, okay, yes, we need to train these kids. Like, I'm Kitty Pryde. Okay, I'll train these kids. So for their first training session, they all meet up at a dance studio, and they have your sort of first day of school introductory session. Hi, my name is Mav. I'm a boy, and I'm from California. Things like that. And it's honestly pretty boring. You guys are seeing it right now. They're just sitting here, and they're just talking. And okay, cool. You're telling, not showing. That's already a bad sign. But then as the session keeps going, one of the new mutants asks Kitty right down there, like, and you started off like this, sitting in a circle talking about your feelings? And Kitty has this flashback to, well, it was a little more hands-on, but we'll get there. And she flashes back to her first time with the X-Men when the Danger Room went crazy. And this is what so when you say things like, Sakura, when you go, oh, Power Rangers abandoned its Sentai roots. Well, Western comics, a good chunk of them, it's getting better. I have to admit that because obviously I now run a comic book show that I can talk for 3 or 4 hours about comic books on and say things are good. But a lot of books still they have abandoned the traditional comic book identity, right? And this is I use this page right here as an example because do you guys pick up a comic book to see a bunch of kids sitting around talking back and forth like heroes in crisis? No, you pick up comic books to see dazzling action, dazzling visuals, crazy costumes, the fantastical. And so we are very much in this era of, we don't want, more than anything, a lot of this is based on the idea of like, they've already done that. I want to be new and I want to do it my way. And so that's why they abandoned the Sentai roots. That's why they abandoned the comic book roots, because in their minds, in the new creative classes' minds, it's, that's old. It's not mine. I don't care. And nobody wants to read books about that. I don't want to read a book about that, so nobody's going to want to read a book about that. And yeah, so it's not just Power Rangers. You're right. Power Rangers is suffering from it, but I wouldn't say it's worse because it's sort of all across the board. Although I would say it might be worse for Power Rangers in the fact that it's dead. Like DED, dead, which is absolutely insane for a brand of that level and magnitude of like cultural influence. Punk asks, what did you think of House of Dragon, Spencer? I did not watch House of the Dragon. I heard it was really, really good. I really like Matt Smith as an actor, sort of always have since he was on Doctor Who. In Morbius, he is my favorite part of that awful shit show because you can tell Matt Smith is just having fun. He's playing that character up in the hammiest way possible, and he's just having the most fun on set. So I didn't check out House of the Dragon. As I said at the top of the show, I'm not a big sword and sorcery guy. Really, the only reason I ended up watching Game of Thrones was because my ex-girlfriend, who I was with for a number of years, she was really into that show. So she would want to watch it on like Sunday. So yeah, I'd sit down and I'd watch it with her. If it was me, I would be watching an anime probably. But overall, I've heard it's really, really good. But I can't speak on the Game of Thrones of it all or really anything because I have not personally engaged with it. And I'm not going to be I'm here on this show, on Foil Variant, on Bounding. My promise to you is to be intellectually honest. I'm never going to comment on something I don't know anything about. I'm not going to make things up just to get angry about. So I wish I could give you a better answer, Punk, but it's just not up my alley. Yes, no, it is quite unexceptional. This is one of the worst books Andrew and I have been reading. Corey, hey, Corey is here. Gay. What is going on, buddy? A little late to the party. Corey's never late. So what was it? Corey was late today, and then who was early today? It was who said it? Somebody said like, "Oh wow, I'm here early." It was one of you guys, and now it's gone. But I think it was like Sakura. I don't know anymore. But what's going on, brother? Always happy to have you. They're looking more manly with every turn of the page. It's just not a good book. There's all the insults, everything you can sling at this book is true. Like I have no. We've been over it. If you guys want, there is an episode of Foil Variant where Andrew and I rage against the machine. Yeah, exactly. This book gives me pain. It's not great. You don't need to check it out. Yeah, Dante says he's not supporting any of that stuff until George finishes the book. It's never happening, so I think we can all accept that. And luckily, like, I don't care because, again, not a Game of Thrones fan, but my heart does go out to everybody who's never going to get that conclusion. As somebody who is a giant Mega Man Legends fan who will never get 3, my heart goes out to you. You have my legitimate, deepest sympathies. All right, let's see. I think that we're caught up with chat right now. Let's see what... okay, so one of the things I wanted to point out to you guys, we'll just do a quick comic book point out here, but this book, Superman by Dan Mora and Joshua Williamson, it's not the greatest story so far. It's kind of meh, retreading a lot of stuff that's just boring, but oh my God, guys, the art in this book, Dan Mora is a crazy man. The art in this book, I've gone through this issue like 4 times. Once to read it, twice to look at the art, and one more time to take in the art with the text, because this book is just so gorgeous. And we're not going to sit here and go through every panel. Obviously, we don't have time for that. But I wanted to highlight this 2-part exchange here, which is Doomsday is back, which is stupid. Don't worry about it. But Doomsday's here. He's threatening Metropolis. Superwoman, who is Lois right now, we don't know why. That's part of the ongoing plot. But Superwoman is about to fight Doomsday, while Clark is being distracted. But there's this moment here where Clark realizes that he needs to go, that she's about to fight him. And as you can see each panel, like before she can land a single punch, Superman blazes across the damn planet, just tears across it like Superman, 2 style, and just cracks the hell out of Doomsday to the point where like Metropolis shakes and his hand instantly just comes out like in blood. So Dan Mora just continues to absolutely kill it, and I cannot get over it. So I think that's really, that's what I wanted to talk about too. I was going to say that's probably all the comic book stuff I really have for this week, but no, that's not true. I mentioned it a second ago, and we should talk about this because it really just, I enjoy pain, I enjoy suffering, and there's no more suffering. There's nothing more suffering inducing for me than this damn series. So guys, if you remember, spiraling out of the Zeb Wells Spider-Man run was this mini-series, Chasm, Curse of Cain. Basically, the setup to it was Cain finally, having heard about what's going on with Ben through the grapevine, decides, all right, I'm going to go find my brother. I'm going to find out what the hell is going on. And if something's going bad, then I'm going to put a stop to it. And if not, we'll deal with it from there. So in doing that, Ben, long story short, Ben is acting insane. He's being hyper violent. He's causing a lot of chaos around the city. And it turns out that the reason for that is, drum roll please, what do you guys think? Do you think it's a Venom? Do you think it's his own stuff? Do you think we're finally getting a goblin spider again, like we were talking about, like me and Sammy were talking about? No, it is all the fault of, where's a picture of him? Druig, the stupid Eternal. So the entire plot of this book is that Druig, out for random times in history, finds somebody who has a lot of power and a broken mind and just messes with them. That's all it was. So everything Ben did in this series, which like attacking a bunch of people in the subways and stuff, it was all because Druig was just bored. Like there was no point to it. It was just, I'm bored. I'm going to mess with you. And it was like, it sucks so hard. Nothing happens in this damn series. And then we get this fight that Ben freaks out, mistakes Cain for Druig, generates an axe out of his, guys, like I liked you remember this? I hate Chasm, but you'll remember that I liked his web shooters because they didn't do like webs per se, but they did like the God of War blade, and that was like, that would shoot into the wall or whatever, and he could pull himself, or he could use it as like a dagger weapon. And I was like, that's sick. But ever since then, they kind of just do whatever the fuck they want with it. Like, oh, here's an axe, you can just make a weapon now. And then he goes to attack Cain, and Cain beats him by just taking Ben, like webbing him, pulling him onto the axe, and magically that severs the connection between him and Druig. And then Druig just walks away. Literally, this right here is it. Druig goes, oh, I'm not controlling him anymore. Okay, bye. And then everybody sort of just leaves from there, right? Cain and Ben haven't had any development. Ben's not back to being Ben. It's just, okay, bye. And like, there was no point to this miniseries. It was 4 issues. And I only hung on because I was like, please let this be the end. Let something happen at the end that somebody says, Ben's fucking coming back. But we didn't even get that. And so like, it is just the most nothing burger of series I have ever read. And then on that note of, is it in this panel or is it in this? Yeah. Okay. So in that note of, we don't know how Ben's powers work. They kind of just pull it out of their ass whenever it is. Can he make you forget things? Sure. Can he make things out of them? Sure. Can he uncorrupt you from a goblin's influence? Sure. Why the fuck not? Right? We don't have any rules for Ben here. We don't define anything. It's a problem we see a lot, right, guys? I mean, the obvious examples are going to be Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales, but it's that thing that they keep doing in comic books and just entertainment in general where oh, we need to make this character interesting. Well, they have a new power, and you don't explain it. It's just there. You go, okay, yeah, no, they're that super strong now, and you go, how? Why? And they just go, Miles has a sword now. Isn't that sick? And it's like, no, it's not, because none of your ideas are cohesive. None of them are based in anything. It's just you throwing shit at the wall. And so to add on to the problems with Ben's powers, in this issue, we get this weird reveal that I talked about this with Andrew a little bit last night. I think that might have been after the show, though. But as you can see right here, there's this moment where Ben and Janine are about to get attacked by a giant monster, and Ben's spider sense, or his chasm sense, goes off. But if you guys remember in in a Spider-Man comic, when you know what? Kane might even have it happen to... Oh, no, Kane doesn't have spider sense, so it's not going to happen to him. But, okay, so I'll go back to what we were doing. If you guys remember, in, think of the cartoons, the early Ditko comics and stuff, when Spider-Man has his sense go off, he gets the, spiky, wavy, crown, right, over his head. And you go, huh? And he off to his next adventure. Chasm sense, of which this is the very first appearance, when Chasm has something happening to him, he automatically generates, these spikes. You guys see what I'm saying? So if a danger is coming at him from behind, his spider sense or his chasm sense goes off, and all of a sudden these impaling spike daggers protect him. And I'm just like, this is too, what are we doing here? We are so far removed from what a spider hero is supposed to be. We're just pulling all these random, honest to God, it feels like Bleach, right? Oh, Miles can use an electric sword now. There's his Bankai. Spider-Gwen can shoot Kamehamehas now. Bankai. Oh, Ben can use his his spider sense to do this and create all these other damn weapons. Not Bankai, but clearly, he's got power, and it's just pulling. It's the worst example I've seen of just pulling things out of your ass constantly to be like, yeah, no, this is cool now, right? You like this character now, right? You like this character now, right? And what we want, people, is not oversaturation. We want quality, right? We don't want... I would trade 900 Spider-Man books for 4 issues that were good, that made me think, that made me feel, that made me go, wow, I had a really good time reading this. Ultimate Spider-Man, if you guys are looking for that. That's what I was referencing. But overall, yeah, so I bring this stupid story up just to vent, because it ain't getting better over here for us Ben fans. We are in the deepest shit right now. If you guys remember, the Wells run ends with that awful bait and switch where, as written by Wells, where Ben and invites Peter to get a cup of coffee, and they're hanging out, and then Ben's like, can we have a truce? I don't want to kill you anymore. I don't want to take your memories. I'm gonna go heal on my own. And they're like, yeah, that's great. And then Ben immediately leaves, and he's like, no, I was lying to you. Screw you. I'm still Chasm. So between that, this stupid miniseries, and hey, Jacob's here. What in the spider crap is this? It is spider crap. Yeah, Spider Curse. No, really, right now, the Spider folks have no quality among their line. You have Venom was good. I enjoyed that. The most recent run of Venom, loved Venom more. That was a lot of fun. All New Venom, which came out this week, is pretty fun. Ultimate Spider-Man, that's good too. I consider that sort of in a different office because it's in the Ultimate office over the Spider-Man editorial office. But aside from Venom, if I look across the board, I've got Chasm, Curse of Cain. I've got there's never just one. It always cycles, but they're always publishing a Spider-Verse related book. Whether it's an Edge of Spider-Verse mini where they keep introducing new variants, or it's a mini where they bring them all together finally. They always produce one. Right now, the most recent example of that just ended, and it was one of those crossover ones where they brought all the new Spider people in. It was dog shit. I'm not even saying that playfully, guys. That series was actually awful to read. It was not fun. It was, I wouldn't say insulting, but just bad times all around. It's not great. Hold on. I need a drink of water. But so you got those books. You have Spider-Boy, which just not. I will admit this, as someone who is currently flipping through Spider-Man every week because my friend at the Pakistani store always has a copy for me to peruse. And because I wanted to know what was going on with the Spider-Girl thing so we could properly criticize it. And if you guys remember from last week, it turns out it's not actually a new Spider-Person. It's Daredevil or Bullseye trying to mess with Spider-Boy and putting his own apprentice in a spider costume. Different sort of thing. Might work. We have to see. But it is a Dan Slott book. But I have to admit, like, there are, you know, it's very indicative of Dan Slott's career, which is like, there are moments. There are tiny little moments where I get like a, huh, that's it out of this book. Nothing is good. Nothing makes me like go, oh yes, we got a new issue of Spider-Boy. It's all just sort of like, I pick up this book and I go, what's it going to do this time? And then the occasional moments where I go, that's cool. They're nice. They're surprising, but also like, yeah, just this book sucks. Yeah, I'm just flipping through it now to show you guys just, I don't know why I'm flipping through it. I really have there's nothing I want to talk about in this. It's here. Here, but we do need something to look at while we are hanging out on this screen before I pull up whatever else is going on. So here, we will look at Venom. We'll look at the Venom cover because it's a very, very gorgeous cover. Like Adam Kubert kills it. He's always killing it lately. So we'll just have that up. I want to get rid of the. There we go. Now you don't have to see the credits, and it's just a beautiful splash page. So Chasm is a porcupine, dude. Chasm is whatever they want him to be at the moment. Like that's what I'm sort of saying is that the whole sentiment that we see a lot of like canon doesn't matter. I just want to tell the story. That has sort of unfortunately infected the creative classes right now, and so a lot of times they'll just do whatever. And go, yeah, that's a thing now. Fuck you. You're the next writer. You're going to have to deal with it. But hey, here's a new thing. And so, like, there are still good writers out there who know what they're doing, who take in Marvel history, DC history, make sure things try to work. If they're trying something new, they stay in character, in scenario. You guys are going to lose it. But honestly, one of, if not the best writer right now, like with an active book on the shelf, is Gail Simone with her Uncanny X-Men book. Because she is trying new things, but everything feels like them. Everything feels right. It feels natural. The drama feels like genuine drama and not soap opera or forcing drama. It is insane how good she is compared to all of her peers. It's especially insane because right now, they just started an intra-series crossover between Gail's Uncanny X-Men and Jed Mid-K's X-Men core book. And the differences are night and day. It goes like one issue here, one issue there, one issue. The books by Simone make you feel genuinely like, what is going to happen? I don't know what this villain's up to. All of my preconceptions could be wrong. I can't get a read on this villain. She's so like locked down. You go over to Jed Mid-K, and it's just, I call him Mid-K for a reason. I've called him Mid-K for years because he is the most serviceable writer working today. You will get a story. If you hire Mid-K to write something, you will get a story. Maybe like a solid 5 out of 6 with an occasional like 9 out of 10 moment. He has very, very, very rarely some okay moments. If you guys don't believe me, I will show you one in just a second as soon as I'm done with this rant. But overall, so you get Gail, who's actually understanding the characters, the scenarios, the place the Marvel universe is in right now in terms of Krakoa, in terms of like superhero outlooks and all that stuff. Whereas you go over to Mid-K, and Mid-K just writes it all in the most generic, like, we hate mutants, mutants bad, we mutants good and coming to save the day. Like, he sucks. But Gail is incredible, and we need more writers like Gail to avoid what Shinkai is pointing out here, which is just the random throwing on of powers onto whomever, whatever, wherever, whyever, just because. Andrew, do not know if you're here still, if you're still working on the Chuck script, but if you are, question for you. We literally, I know I'm focusing on Chasm as the person who gets all the powers thrown at him. Okay, cool, you are still here. Last night, we were talking about this exact problem, I think after the show, right? Because I was telling you, I got to tell you about Chasm. Like, this sucks. We can't, one of us mentioned another character where it was like, this character sucks because they just keep giving them new powers. And I don't remember who it is. Do you possibly remember who it is? If not, it's not that big of a deal. It was just one of those things where I wanted to be like, this is what I'm talking about as well. And I remember that you had like the good example. Again, don't stress your brain. Don't take time out of your work to fuss about it. If you can remember it off the top of your head, that'd be cool. Let's see. Okay, so what I wanted to explain to you guys. Oh, not that book. That book is. It's fine. It's whatever. So this is the book I wanted to talk about real quick in terms of Jed McKay and his writing style and just how like he can have a moment occasionally, right? So he's currently the writer for Avengers as well. And for the last few months, in the lead up to the release of this issue, which is issue 7, 21. Geez, I don't know anymore. They have been teasing, as you can see in the upper title, Avengers versus X-Men, round 2. Mid-K's been out there sort of selling it on that same bent. All the solicits have been selling it on that same bent. When more often than not, books will get a 3 to 5 page preview from their publisher about a month or two, or not a month, but like a month to 2 weeks before the book releases. And when they did the previews for this book, they only focused on the first 3 pages, which, as we'll see right here, starts with the Avengers like teleporting into Alaska, where the X-Men are currently hanging out. The X-Men are ready for them. They meet them there. Cyclops, or Carol, starts calling out Cyclops, and they have a lot of this aggressive language. Get out here, Summers. No more hiding. Here I am. And the time in my life for hiding is over. And then, you want us? We're right here, Avengers. Please, you can't win this one, X-Men. This is where the preview ended. So a lot of us were going, ugh, Avengers versus X-Men, we're doing this again, whatever. But then you turn the page, it was all a bait and switch for a fucking baseball game. And that is what takes up the majority of this issue, are the Avengers and the X-Men just sort of hanging out, having dinner, talking about their lives. Which, I'm not against this. There are some good interactions in this book, but it's sort of like Jed doesn't move anything. This is the most, stuck in place, we're resting for the night on this road trip sort of book. And that is what he always does. He doesn't deliver, if you will. All of his books end with just no resolution. If you guys remember from a few months ago, he had this two-part Avengers story where Hyperion, the Superman analog, the legit Marvel did it on purpose to parody Superman. If you guys remember, which you shouldn't because that event was awful, but a couple years ago they did an event called Heroes Reborn, which was a play on the 90s event, but it basically saw Phil Coulson use the Infinity Cube, or the demonic Infinity Cube, or Cosmic Cube, sorry, to rewrite history so that he was president of the United States and the Squadron Supreme was in charge of they were the superhero team, not the Avengers, it was the Squadron. Eventually the Avengers win, they restore everything back to normal. Jed decided to do this really cool thing, and I say this because it was cool at the beginning, where Hyperion, having had his entire world sort of disappeared from under him, now he exists in a world and nobody knows who he is, he sort of freaks out. And he sends a message to Earth, and he's like, I am coming for you. I am 50 million light years away right now, but I am rocketing towards you, and I am picking up speed. And by the time you get this message, you'll have about a week until I get to your planet and just blast through it and destroy it, because there is nothing for me here. I am just going to tear it all down. And I thought that was a sick setup. I was like, whoa, how do we deal with that? What do we do? And then the next issue, they literally just open up a portal before he hits Earth and sends him to a world that has no superhero so he can be a hero. He doesn't try to fight the Avengers anymore. He's not angry. Nothing happens. It's just he teases something that cool might happen and then just gives you the most fizzle out possible. Because this entire issue, you've got the X-Men and the Avengers all hanging out. They're all connecting. It seems like we're going to get somewhere, and it really just ends with Carol and Scott agreeing hey, if my team needs help, will you help? Okay. there's no overarching plot. There's no like, there's nothing. It's so mid. It is so mid. But to the point, I want to be fair. He does have these moments that can be enjoyable. And in this issue, it actually happens during the baseball game where, as Tony is saying here, he's like, we're tied up. It's time for, Avengers are up to bat. Pitch that ball. Let's, it's not going to end in a tie. We're going to win. And so Juggernaut goes, you know what? I'm going to pitch this one. And Magic yells at him like, don't do it. We have one ball left. And if you pitch it, it's going to like get destroyed and the game's over. And Juggernaut's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so he just, in Juggy fashion, lets it rip. It cracks past like Tony and Beast, tears up the ground, and slams right into the base and blows up. And obviously like disintegrates the ball. And then you have, they're like, well, it's a tie. Time to go in. And Magic is yelling at Cyclops here, like, you dummy, it's a tie. We lost. And he's like, a tie? Maybe for the Avengers and the X-Men. But I don't like baseball, and I'm hungry, and I wanted dinner. So maybe you tied, but I won. Game Juggernaut. So, like, see, like, I read that moment, and I'm like, dang it, I like Magic and Juggernaut. They're always good together. He has moments. Moments. But overall, the man is awful at what he does. Okay, yeah, that's unfortunate. I honestly can't remember who I mentioned last night. I feel like it was somebody with... Whoops, I didn't mean to close that. I feel like it was somebody with armor? I can't remember. I genuinely couldn't tell you who we were talking about anymore, which is it's a bit of a bummer. But we all know it exists. We all know it is a thing. Oh shit. First of all, what is up to our buddy, our main compatriot here? What is up, Timon? Timon says, just got home from an emergency root canal. Dude, fuck that. I'm so sorry. Was it an emergency because like you cracked something and you had to get it taken out? Because that's happened to me before, and that is like the worst 3 days of time anybody can really handle. But aside from that, I hope you're okay. I hope you're feeling all right-ish as well as you can. And I'm glad you're hanging out here. I'm glad to see you, buddy. If in case, obviously, as always, don't feel obligated to hang out any further, like any longer than you would normally if you're not feeling great, but very happy to see you, buddy. Sakura Mita says, Spencer, I've seen Marvel be mentioned a lot of times on YouTube videos that ain't comic books. Sounds like if superhero fatigue happened, even though me, you, and Cider know that wasn't the case. So a lot of what's going on when you listen, so obviously, as always, I always recommend check out, look into the channel you're listening to. Do they normally try their best to investigate and look into things and be intellectually honest? Or are they one of the ones who, tend to react before they learn, put up the daily videos and all that sort of stuff? There's differences. There's not necessarily a right, well, there is a right one, and that's the one of being intellectually honest. But you got to remember that for the channels that aren't so intellectually honest, that is or let me rephrase that, because I just realized I'm going down the wrong bent. But we all know that the popular narrative right now is that or not comics, but superhero movies, superhero media is on the outs. Everybody has fatigue. And the problem is we as consumers, as fans of this stuff, know that that's just not true. We can also see that in the actual result, right? Spider-Man No Way Home blew it out of the water. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 didn't blow it out of the water, but it at least made like $10 for like total profit for Marvel, so it at least wasn't a bomb. There was another one that did like relatively okay in Phase 4, and I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. It's not Shang-Chi because fuck Simu Liu, but so we know that that's not the case. We know that it's not so much superhero fatigue so much as it is bad story and also oversaturation fatigue, right? So in terms of Marvel, and that's the problem, is that Marvel as a studio, when Hollywood is looking for an answer, remember, they're not willing to actually engage with the viewers and the audiences. They're looking at data. They're not talking to people. They're not watching our videos. They're just looking. That's what it was. Thank you, Sakura. Yeah, that is what it was. Doctor Strange 2, bad movie, had some highlights. let's see, highlight for me of that movie, because again, guys, you can always find something. If you can't find at least one or two things you like in something, even if you hate it, then you're not being honest, right? In Doctor Strange, I liked a few things. Overall, not a lot of it, but I really liked. Well, I liked seeing Shuma Gorath because I've always loved Shuma Gorath, even if he got taken out like a bitch in 3 seconds. I really liked all the moments where Sam Raimi got to be Sam Raimi. So the moment when like Wanda crawls out of the mirror, the moment when she's like doing that like jitter walk at them down the tunnel in the multiverse world, I forget what it is, the other Earth, the Illuminati Earth, if you will. And then like when he does the cape with the hands, I really like that. I also really like the actress who plays America. Zokchil, I don't know how to say her first name, but little young Miss Gomez, I think she was adorable. She brought like a really good energy to the role. Of course, we don't really like the character. Like that's pretty much all of us here, I'm sure. But I liked seeing her on screen. I was like, I'll hang out with this version of America. She's at least adorable. Yeah, right. Zombie Strange was a bit cool for a bit. I think it went a little long, but I think overall it was a really good move by them to do that. But back to sort of what I was saying is here. I'm gonna bring back up Sakura's question, which is that what am I trying to say here? So the companies, the studios, they're not talking to us. They're not seeing any of that. They're just looking at data. I feel like I've told you guys this before. If I haven't said it on this show, I've definitely said it on 01, the Bounding Into Comics show. Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Come hang out with me, Cider, Jacob, Nerdigans. It's always a good time. But I have a friend who, very long time friend, very good friend, works in the entertainment industry. I'm not going to tell you where, what companies he's worked at or whatever, but he gave me some insight let's just say he works for some very big studios in Hollywood. He's not on the low end. He's up there. He admitted to me that the way these companies make decisions about what to cancel, what to renew, what to do, they just look at the volume of chatter, right? Not the quality of it, just the volume of it. So if right now, all of us went out here, right, and we went, fuck Chasm. Chasm sucks. He's the worst character ever. They're just going to see, oh man, did you see this uptick in tweets about Chasm? He's a thing right now. What can we do with him? And let's greenlight a series. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to give him a movie because that's what they do. They just rush into that. They think that they are chasing the audience instead of trying to learn and then predict what the audience is going to sort of want. In that sense, Hollywood right now, they are scrambling to find a answer as to why all this media is failing. They do not want to admit we are bad writers. We are a bad studio. Kevin Feige's lost his edge. Nobody wants to admit that. Nobody wants to take an L. So until they do, they go, superhero fatigue. It's essentially the Principal Skinner meme, right? Is it my fault that, nobody wants to watch superhero movies anymore? No, it has to be fatigue. And it's like, so a lot of the times when a channel is saying it's superhero fatigue, they're just regurgitating what the popular zeitgeist is, whether they realize it or not. Because you can go to Variety, Deadline, all of the main sites, and you'll find that term regularly coming up. So a lot of that is that, like I just said, it's the studios trying to make up an explanation and just not take any responsibility. The other part that I mentioned was the oversaturation, right? I wouldn't say there's fatigue, but I think there is, people are oversaturated with superhero stuff, right? Like, especially a couple years ago with like Marvel, you had 3 shows coming out and 4 movies, and you had to watch them all, and they were all connected, and you had to. Oh, and by the way, now here's a tie-in comic book. Oh, and by the way, we're having a new Spider-Man animated series. Like, they throw so much at everybody, and none of it is really that much quality that everybody just sort of goes like, whatever. I don't really. Once entertainment becomes like a chore, most people who aren't giant dick nerds like us are going to turn out and be like, maybe I'll catch it later. So it really, the meat of this, Sakura, is people just want good stuff again, good entertainment. And obviously that's subjective, but we can take means to, make productions better, work on CGI, give them more budget and time, actually vet your screenwriters, make writing teams again. Like, all of these need to be addressed before this idea of superhero fatigue. What is happening, but to sort of, merge those 2 points, Sakura, what happens is that people often conflate being tired of this shit with fatigue, right? Tired, fatigue, it's very close. So somebody's like, I'm tired of like all this crap. They might just be saying like, I'm tired of these crappy movies. Like me. I go, I'm tired of this Marvel crap. I'm not done with Marvel. I would just love something to be of quality. I don't give a shit about Brave New World or Thunderbolts or by the way, guys, I don't know why I'm swearing so much compared to normal streams today. I feel like maybe I'm just being a little spicy, but I've definitely been noticing that I'm like not pulling my punches with my language today. But yeah, so that is basically what it is. People keep getting shit thrown at them and they go, oh, I'm tired of shit being thrown at me. And the studios go, oh, well, they're tired of shit being thrown at them. That means they don't like buckets. We got to find something else other than buckets. And it's like, no, we're cool with buckets. Stop throwing shit on us. Can you throw water? Can you throw food or like rainbows, something? Like anything that's not going to make me hate my life for the next 2 hours. So that's really what's happening. It's oversaturation more than it is fatigue. And it's all wacky and related, and it's not clear cut, but that's kind of the lay of the land. It's not fatigue so much as it is people being tired of crap. And if you deliver them a good superhero like production, and it's not one of like 90 coming out that year, you're gonna have more attention. You're gonna sort of look at like this is a really good comparison. Think of comic books, right? Every week, every month, you go to the comic book store, and there are dozens. Whoa, I don't know why I yelled that. There are like multiple dozens of books on the shelf. And if you go in, if you're not like a hardcore reader of comic books, you're going to get overwhelmed and be like, I don't know what all of this is. Can I have a Superman comic? And the guy will go, okay, cool. Superman. That's simple for you, right? But imagine if you went in and you're like, can I have a Superman comic? And they're like, you can have a Superman comic, but there's also the Spider-Man comic going out here. And then there's also this new animated Creature Commandos. And it just stacks up and you go, I just wanted to read a Superman story. This is way too much for me. Oh, good. I like to hear this. Timon says, I'm better now, but it still sucks. Oh, yeah. I mean, root canals are always going to be terrible, right? I don't think anybody's ever had a good one. Well, I guess it's like if you're in pain and you get it, then it feels good that the pain's over, but it still sucks to heal. Let's see. Sakura says, a video even stated that Mortal Kombat 2023 DLC Chaos expansion story sounds like a Marvel project. Oh, man. Sakura, I don't know how... Well, thank you, Punk. That means I'm not so red-faced about being spicy. But, Sakura, I don't know how familiar you are with the overall recent Mortal Kombat games, specifically since 9, but this is sort of related to what we're talking about, is NetherRealms, Warner Brothers, they saw at whatever time, like, let's see, when did the multiverse really start coming out, guys, into, like, the movies, and whether it's DC or Marvel? It wasn't Endgame or Infinity War. It must have been after that. But anyway, at some point, once the multiverse started picking up in pop culture, NetherRealms went, oh, let's do that. People love that. So Mortal Kombat 9 was a reboot of the series, full on, like, we are restarting. You know, the story mode went back to the first Mortal Kombat tournament, so on and so forth. And it had some, it made some changes to the plot, like new timeline and all that. So then we get to Mortal Kombat 10. Mortal Kombat 10 picks that back up, but then we get to the end and they reset everything. Like, they reset the timeline and you're back to square one. Then you go and play Mortal Kombat 11 and they build up this new timeline. And you get to the end and they reset it. Then you get to Mortal Kombat 1 and you start the new timeline from the beginning. And then they reset it. So it it really is like the worst parts of a Marvel project of like, I am a multiverse threat. We gotta invade the multiverse. Get me the multiversal heroes. Cause I was writing an article, I think last week, about Mortal Kombat 1. And so I went to look up the story for that Chaos expansion thing. And it's literally like, we have to assemble the multiversal Mortal Kombat Avengers. So Liu Kang's from one timeline, Sub-Zero's from another timeline, this Johnny Cage is from another timeline, that's Sony. And I'm like, what are we doing? This is so weird. This isn't what Mortal Kombat should be. Can you guys chill? So that sort of plays into it, right, Sakura? The more the trappings of superhero stuff, like multiverses or whatever, start getting used and abused and oversaturated, people will start tuning out all of that in general. So let's see. Punk asks, what did you think of West Coast Avengers #1? Oh, I can't believe I haven't talked about this at all. So yeah, I can talk. We'll talk about this real quick. So if you guys didn't know, we just got 2 weeks ago, we got our first issue of the brand new West Coast Avengers series written by Gary Dugan. The setup to this is essentially Tony is going out west. Tony and Rhodey are starting up a new West Coast Avengers whose entire purpose is not to fight and, hurt and whatever villains, but it's to sort of, what do you call it? Work release, right? If you want to try and redeem yourself, you can come work on this Avengers team. We'll, take time off of your sentence, but we want to get you free and as a hero. It's not like Suicide Squad where they're like, you're working for us no matter what, stay a villain, I don't give a shit. Like, this is them really trying to rehab them. So the book overall, I think, so I didn't like this idea. I'm a little torn on this book because I think the idea of like an Avengers work release team sounds kind of fun. I think that's an original thing. We really haven't seen that before. My issue is that we start off, as you guys are seeing right here, we start off this series with essentially the first recruit of the program being an Ultron, which is like, again, guys, because this is comic books, we all know that outside of the very, very, very rare cases, nothing ever sticks. The status quo does not change. So sort of like you tried to make me believe Norman Osborn was going to be a hero forever. Get out of my face. You tried to tell me that Peter Parker was never coming back and it was Superior Spider-Man forever. Get out of my face. And then you go, oh, Ultron's good now. Maybe, but it kind of spoils the story because I know that eventually that's going to be a point of conflict where either he genuinely goes bad or something short circuits and they all feel bad, whatever. So aside from that, I don't know. I'm so torn on this book. I'm trying to like remember even what happened in this book. So like, yeah, basically the chain of events is the West Coast Avengers are being attacked because there is a like or it's like a sovereign citizen like type terror group takes a bunch of hostages and they're like, we want to be independent, tell the US government, yada yada. And so the West Coast Avengers, at least Rhodey, Ultron, Spider-Woman, and this new character, I believe Blue Bolt is his name. I totally can't remember. But they arrive on scene. They try to, resolve the situation. But Blue Bolt, he kind of gets ahead of everybody and, things go wrong. He blows up the site. They all save the hero. They all save the people. But it's overall sort of like a disaster. And in doing so, eventually, Blue Bolt goes to the hospital. Spider-Woman is there visiting like a friend, or like she's visiting Blue Bolt, but then ends up talking to this woman who's in the like room across from him. Tony starts talking to her. She's clearly like she's got cancer, and she says like, "I'm ready for my next journey. Don't worry. Like I know it's sad, but hey, I'm ready to go." And everybody's like, "Oh, that's crazy." And we sort of get Tony reestablishing everything, telling Jess what's going on. And then ultimately we get to Starfire, and Tony calls Starfire because he's like, hey, you could probably help on this team. You've sort of been in this zone before. And she's, she says yes, but it's kind of depressing. Because of everything she did with Krakoa, where she was the sleeper agent inside Orchis, nobody believes her, nobody trusts her. She doesn't, like herself for what she had to do. So she's actually at the bar with no name drinking, and she's like slammed. So after that, she agrees to join the team. We focus back on the cancer patient woman, and we learn that there is this like spiritual Ultron. I guess you could possibly take it. It's like an Ultron that is presenting himself as like a spiritual leader, like a cult leader, essentially. That, as you can see here, he takes people into his embrace, removes their body, and puts their head on like an Ultron unit. And then we get to the last page, and there's a bunch of them, and soon the entire world will hear the gospel of Ultron. So ultimately, I'm like, here's the problem. This like the setup and everything, I kind of like. I like the work release idea. I like Starfire or Firestar, even though like she's my girl. I like her sort of being on the outs right now. And I think there's something interesting there with whatever that other holy, like the gospel of Ultron is going on. Obviously, like the good news, I don't think they're trying to use Ultron as like a genuine like one-to-one, let's, criticize religion. This genuinely just seems like it's Ultron using religious trappings to trick people. So I like that. However, there's a lot of the intrapersonal moments that I feel lean a little too silly, if you will. For example, there's this scene where Tony's got to hook himself up to a car battery because his old armor doesn't work. And it's like, aren't you Tony Stark? Like, yeah, you have it in storage, but better than, I don't know. It's something that could work, but it just feels a little goofy, like at the top. I'm not against it. But as we keep going, things like, what was it? Like this whole talking with Jess, and she's like, did you only ask me to join because I'm a villain? And like this right here, where he's like, this is the new Avengers base, and come hang out. I rented a taco truck. And it's like, you're trying a little too hard to be silly, to bring, I don't want to say it's exact MCU humor, but it's very reminiscent of it, which is that like after every moment or in every scene, there has to be something off that like subverts your expectation in a fun way, not in like a bad way, but like, oh, taco truck, haha, we all love taco trucks, like that's great. Like, and then there's this like moment right here where to get to the fight, because his armor is dead, Tony has to use like a lift scooter, but he wears a helmet too. And it's like, dude, like, you have an armor on, you don't need a fucking helmet. Like, I don't, it's just, you're trying too hard to be funny. I think if this got more grounded, I would probably enjoy it more. But so far, having like the silliness and the very predictable Ultron's gonna switch or something like plotline, nothing here is really selling me on this is going to be a spectacular series. I'm gonna keep reading, at least for a little bit, because I really do like, I like my Firestar, I like my Spider-Woman, I like whatever they're doing with Ultron over here, with Pastor Ultron. But it doesn't feel exciting. It feels a little desperate. So we'll see. I'm open to it, but not the biggest fan right now. Yeah, I know, Punk. I said that like a few times. I caught myself. I was like, Firestar. Timon says, Ultron and Avenger? Yeah, that's like sort of the setup, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't buy that. Like, I don't buy Norman Osborn becoming a good guy. I don't buy the Joker becoming a good guy. These aren't mini villains, right? And that's sort of one of the worst things about being a fan of brand or like of comic books, is that status quo is always going to be the most important thing, because that's what they go and they market everything. All of your t-shirts, all of your generic toys, the things that aren't associated with a specific movie or game or comic, all their merch is, oh, you're going to have Wolverine Logan. Oh, you're going to have Hulk in his purple pants. You're going to have Captain America, Steve Rogers. You're going to have Tony in his gold and red armor. So it's like, and then to my point, it's like, in the zeitgeist, Ultron is your big bad Avengers villain. Green Goblin's your big bad Spider-Man villain. You guys, Marvel's not brave enough to say, oh yeah, we'll stop advertising Ultron as a villain or Green Goblin as a villain forever. So they might get it for like a second, but it's always going to revert, because that's what they sell. They sell the eternally stuck in like 1999 Marvel image. And so, like, for good or worse, you got like that's a personal bent, but I think that it takes the oomph out of some stories because you just sort of like this. You open it up and you go, all right, let's do this. I don't expect any twist coming. Of course, I'm always open to being surprised. I would love to be surprised instead of having it confirmed that it's going to be bad, but we can only wait and see, right? So let's see. Oh, hey, we have Reeve is here. What's going on, buddy? I just got here. I haven't been able to play yet. Thoughts on the game so far? So, in case that is a beautiful segue, my friend, I am glad you made that for us. Let me bring up something. I had like several good transition spots a couple segments ago, guys, but we kept going, and it's fine. But I'm like, oh, I could have totally done that. It would have been so funny. But all right, we gotta pull these bad boys up. So, I currently wait. Where did it go? I thought I pulled it up. Oh, it's in this one. So, bum bum bum. Ba-da-bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Let me make sure we're gonna go to the right window when we get over there, because this thing doesn't always like to work. Well, I don't know why my voice cracked right there. That sucked. What am I trying to jump to? That one. That's what I want to jump to. So, right now, I have not gotten to play the game. I got to boot it up, So we're talking Marvel Rivals. Obviously, it's it's in the thumbnail, it's in the thumbnail. It's in the stream title. It came out yesterday or today, technically, like at midnight, and it is for those of you who are out of the loop. It is essentially Overwatch, but with Marvel characters, but also third person. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm way more of a third person fan than I am a first person fan. I like seeing the character models move and attack, and it helps, it's almost a sort of like I'm looking for references, right? Like, oh, that's a cool way they did that. I want to learn motion and how things all sort of come together. So I love third person. I'm excited for it. I had too much to do earlier today and late last night to be able to play it. It is booted up. It is ready to go. I opened it up to get the exclusive Iron Man armor, which is like that golden yellow one. But I have been watching gameplay. I've been watching a couple friends play it. I've been watching other streamers play it. I am excited about it. I think there's some roughness around the edges, especially with a couple of the new mechanics that they've introduced compared to other hero shooters. For example, one of them is like with Wolverine, Wolverine's special, his ultimate move, he pops you into the air and then he smacks you away, which is like, we don't really have moves like that. So it's a little jankily implemented at the top. Maybe that is also just the way I've seen it being used. There's this, some heroes, if you use them all together on a team, they get, like shared abilities. And for Penny and Peter, if you, are with Venom, you get this sort of passive that whenever you get close to an enemy, a symbiote like tentacles start like shooting out of you in all directions, and it's passive damage that pushes the character back. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But really, all I'm complaining about right here are just sort of your early game edges that need to be sanded, right? Like, no game releases perfect. There's every game always needs like a little bit of improvement once it gets out into the wild, and so I think we'll get that in a patch in the next couple coming days. But overall, this game is like, I know this game is going to destroy my life. I'm genuinely like worried that the second I get done with work tonight, we'll wrap up the stream, and like when the stream ends, I'll go back to working on bounding stuff. When I wrap up bounding stuff and it's weekend time, I feel like I'm going to be the guy from South Park, like the fat gamer who just lets his green screen fall back because I'm lazy and I didn't think that joke through. But yeah, I'm really enjoying a lot of what we're seeing out of it, with one giant exception. Can you stay? Can you not? Please? All right, we're good. So there's one exception to everything positive about this game. And yeah, Punk, that's kind of where I land. There are problems with it, but I'm going to keep buying it. Again, it's a first issue. I'm not sold, but I'm willing to be sold. So I'm open, but you're on notice. This. So, guys, in case you don't know, Marvel Rivals has a smattering of options, or like they are going very, very hard with their costumes. And that's good. I am very excited that this game is going to have a bunch of costumes because I personally, as you all probably know, I love alternate costumes. It's like one of the things I look for in video games. I love playing digital dress up with my creative characters, if you will. I love when characters get new suits in comics. It's just, I like design, I like art, I like all that stuff. So this game is doing a lot of really good, you know what, like here, I believe I was talking about it was Dozer on Twitter. There's a thread about it where, here we go. No, wait. I'm spoiling things that I wanted to yell about. Where, okay, there's Zero's reply. There's the thread. So they, like, we're not going to go through all of them, but I'm going to show you sort of what I'm talking about, right? So lots of skins for everybody. Some of them coming from the MCU, like this Groot right here. Some of them coming slightly original, but inspired by things, right? Like the Free Fall, that's a real costume. But this Galactic Fangs one, this is a brand new Marvel Rivals original. But so you get the gamut of MCU, comic book, original, and they all look like pretty standard, but also like very impressive. For some of them, like Hela, you don't get a lot of variation. It's kind of what you would expect. But then for, you know, who should we look at for this? Like Magic. Magic has actual like costumes, where she's got her black one, her Eldritch one, and then an original one that they made for Marvel Rivals. I'm excited about this. I also want to point out, because I don't know how many people have noticed this, and this to me is just one of those chef's kiss production level things that like I see this and I go, whoever worked on this game, you at least knew how to like be like you wanted to care about the source material at least, right? And it's this stuff where, as you can see here, all the costumes that come from a movie or a comic book, their description is a quote from that specific issue and or movie, and it also lists which specific issue or movie it comes from. And I think that is that's a great way to get people into the actual comic books, but this is also like, wow, you guys remembered that this is a comic book thing. That's cool. Thank you for that. Oh man, I'm so excited for this one. I need this one to come out right now because they say it's an original skin, but this is basically Peach Momoko's Psylocke from her Yokai series, or her Demon Days series, if you will. And I need to rep my girl Peach. I need my Momoko in my life. But more to the point, this right here is what pisses me off. Wait, why did we go to the top of it? I wanted to go to this specific. Okay, weird. Also, I think this is like the coolest skin in the damn game, even if it's for an enemy team, like Captain America. I think I like that color a lot. Like, I think that is, with the energy shield, I think that's sick. But as I was saying, this is what makes me angry. Is you, obviously, I recognize this, and if Leon happens to stop by or hear this in whatever passing way, he'll know that this is a discussion we had. I'm aware that more, yeah, exactly, Timon, exactly, like the PS1 game noting the comic book issue. It's exactly like that, but with like an extra little quote, right? Like, I really like that, and I'm even going to show you guys, because I realized I didn't. Like, right here, they, for the, oh my God, Star-Lord's movie suit, there's a quote from the movie, right? The trap isn't a trap if you know the trap is trying to trap you. It's a face-off. So, very cool little detail that really goes a long way in selling that this is a actual game and not something you guys just slap together for a couple quick bucks. Which, by the way, I also don't think they did, because this game, they promised only cosmetics are going to be purchasable. So all characters are free, all maps are free. You can play the game 1,000% for free. And the skins cost around like $12, $14 on their own, which is a little pricey, but you could also bundle them up and get some emotes and whatever. A little pricey. I'm not going to go out and rush to buy all the skins, but the second they ultimately add Ben Reilly as like Scarlet Spider, I'm there, right? So but to that last point, I recognize that with video games, especially live service multiplayer ones, things get added over time. Costumes get added, right? Overwatch is still getting new costumes to this day. So I'm not going to sit here and go, wow, I can't believe the game isn't going to give us any of these suits, because obviously there's time. This game's 2 days old. But I am particularly disappointed in the fact that they came out with this game where they're super dedicated and in the costume zone, and they just gave Spider-Man the worst opening salvos, right? So here's his standard suit, which, as Andrew and I were talking about this earlier, it is literally all the worst parts of the advanced suit from Spider-Man PS4 merged with that first No Way Home suit, right? The one with like the Tony Stark medal on it before he meets up with the other Spider-Men. Except they replaced the white, thank God, with black. But all of this looks like it's not a good Spidey costume. The glove thing is weird because it feels like those gloves aren't part of the suit. It feels like you put on the suit and then put the gloves over it. And it's just like, why, Peter? And also, I've never, ever liked what the MCU suit does. And they're doing it here with like the black joint or like cut off dividers. It's never been a good look for me. Like, it's never worked for me. But you have that one. You have an ugly Amazing Bagman one. And also, it's not even the correct Amazing Bagman. People forget. I need Marvel Rivals, NetEase, whatever. Oh, see, and this is, I just saw this shit, right? First appears in Amazing Spider-Man 2018. So they took the new one, which is stupid because the original one is Peter in a Fantastic Four suit. That was the whole thing. The first Bagman appears in comics in the issue where Peter goes and he gets the symbiote off of him and he goes and gets help from the Fantastic Four, and they go, buddy, you need clothes to like go home. And he goes, well, thank you, but I need a mask. Do you guys have masks? And he's like, and Johnny's like, we're the Fantastic Four. What do you want with us? And so Peter just grabs a bag and he swings on home. So this one is like particularly baggy and ugly, and I don't know why you picked this one. Right? Like, again, this is opening salvo. We are launching this game. So far you have a really gross, ugly, shit merged with garbage version of the standard suit. And then you have this really dumb Bagman Beyond. And yep, exactly, Timon, a Fantastic Four suit with the bag. Shinkai says, surprise how something you learn as a kid, citing your source isn't done more than that when it is, it's a welcome surprise. Right, like that's... So if you guys read Bounding into Comics, you might notice that under here, I can even just bring up an example since we are on the internet. Bounding. So you guys might have heard there's a little website called Bounding into Comics. It's floating out there. Here, I'll just go to this Visa story. If you guys read the site normally, you might notice that under every image, we have very, very detailed descriptions, right? So here's the Love Hina manga cover. We put, we give a quick description. The series many female leads gather. We say who drew it. And then we say the book, the year it was published, and the publisher. If we are doing comic books, here, where's the most recent comic book one I've done? We haven't had a lot of comic book related news this week, so I might have to scroll a little bit. I'll just click comic books. Comic books. We'll go to this Rogue one, because she is so pretty. But so... Oh, I got to take away your comment, Shinkai. Sorry about that. Timon. So do I. That's one of those games that I will boot up for like, oh, I'm bored. It takes like an hour to beat, and it's always fun. But I love that game. How many of our last calls for last minute news have been Venom and Peter just being stupid from that game? I love that game so much. That and the second one, Enter Electro. But if you guys go for a like interior comic or like a comic book, you'll see we do the same thing, which is we brief description, especially, that helps to identify like which character it is, because maybe there's like 3 Spider-Men standing around and maybe the reader doesn't know who is who. So you just identify them, you give them a brief rundown. Then we give you the series, the volume, the issue number, the name of the story, if possible, the year it was released, the publisher, and then if it's an interior panel like this, we give you all who wrote it and every artist who contributed to it, from everybody from the pencilers to the inkers to the letterers, anybody who is credited for art on an issue, we will identify them. And so I was the one who came up with this system. This was even before I became the man in charge of the site, even before Trent left, I was the one who said we should do this move. And Trent pushed back against it. He said, no, that's stupid. Everybody, like, it's a waste of time. Nobody's going to care. So if you go see like a Trent article, either here on Bounding, TPP, or wherever he is nowadays, you'll see that he just does like screenshot from Avengers Endgame, screenshot from the trailer for Thunderbolts. And here's why I hate that. Because as a kid, when I was growing up and I would go to a news site, a website might do this. They might say like, look, Rogue's Savage Land outfit is coming back. They wouldn't, okay, here's the image. They wouldn't say shit about it. So I would be at a loss to go, well, I kind of want to read that. I want to know that story. What do I do? And I would never know. So when I was asked to, do a new formatting for the site by Trent, I said, we're going to do this. We're going to make sure that if somebody wants to read this, they're going to be able to know where it is. And we're also going to go out of our way to make sure that like the actual artist, not just the penciler, get their credit. Because inkers, colorists, letterers, they matter, guys. Like, Andrew and I talk all the time about one of an amazing artist, Valero Shitty. She does a lot of Spider-Man books. She's very, very good. But if she gets a bad colorer, her work nosedives in quality. Reeve, I know, but I'm not giving him any air. So yeah, when Valero, when she gets a colorist that's not with her style, it dives really hard. There is a cover that was drawn for one of the Alien comics that's coming out right now out of Marvel, not the Avengers Aliens, but like just Alien. Iban Coelho, our boy Iban, right? He drew a cover for it that looks great in pencil, but then whenever colorist went on it, it made it look like it was from like Bill Sienkiewicz, right? Not bad, but just that's not who I was looking for when I was going into this cover. I wanted my Iban art. So, but yeah, more to the point, I do this because I want you guys to be able to go, I know what is happening in this panel. I know who that is. And if I want to, I can go engage with it. A video game, a movie, an anime, like even for shows and stuff. Here, let's, do we have any good, no, this is going to be all comic books. So we'll just go to, yeah, like right here. No, that's a bad one because that's going to be from the trailer. And we'll talk about that in a bit, don't worry. But, where's a good one? Where's a good one? All right, I'll just go to TV. Fine. Or I'll go to anime because I feel like I just recently did this for a bunch of nerdigans of stuff. Oh yeah, so here we go. If it's like a TV show, we will tell you guys like what episode it is, what season it is. That's the important part, right? Like, pardon me. Credit everybody. My goal with the site is to give you guys all the information you need to make up your own minds. Whether you agree with the take, disagree with the take, I want you guys to know what you're looking at, be informed. So even if all you do is read one of my articles and then you get into a discussion about it, you're at least going to have more info than, oh yeah, I heard that was this and this. You'll be able to go like, oh, I saw that issue. I saw that panel. I know what you're talking about. So that's why we do it. I don't even remember. Oh yeah, that's right, Shinkai. Like, that's why I cite the sources all the time, because it's a presentation thing that shows a dedication to not just the source material, but to like caring for your customers. Because there's nothing more infuriating than it's like, here's a page from like, here's 4 different comic pages from different comics. And it just says like image from Marvel Comics. Fucking great. Fucking, what am I supposed to do with that? Yes. Rogue does look hot. That was a fun article to write because I got to go and just search through a bunch of Rogue images in her Savage Land outfit. This incredible one by DNA here. This awesome one that's coming from Kara Andrews for the upcoming series. I included this one. It's not the sexiest one, but I really, really like both Russell Dodderman and design variant covers. So I was like, I'm throwing that in there. But then there was the, like this one is a particular favorite of mine because I really love Art Adams as an artist. He's one of my bigger inspirations. So this is just like a gorgeous, good-looking rogue, good-looking Savage Land rogue. No, I don't want to highlight that comment. Quiet, Reeve. Quiet, Reeve. Timon says, we will never see Hot Rogue in the theaters. Unfortunately, probably not, because we got Anna Paquin, Anna Paquin sold the, like, scared child rogue really, really well, but not the, like, firecracker rogue. And I'm very worried that with the groundswell on social media, they're going to race swap Rogue when she comes to the screen, which is going to be a little unfortunate because that's going to actually change like her character. You know, the dynamics of being white and black in Louisiana is completely different than lots of different places. So it's going to be weird. I've also heard tell that the current like front runner among like fans and the studio to play Rogue is like Keke Palmer. And if in case you guys don't watch 01, I fucking hate Keke Palmer. Like I genuinely hate's a strong word, obviously, because that's reserved for people like Zeb Wells. But like I strongly dislike Keke Palmer, like so much, to the point where you guys can see I'm trying to cycle so hard to find something to communicate how much I don't like her, but not go over the top into hyperbole. Like that's how, because I just want to jump over to that. Reeve says, so how can I get you to talk about Dan? Well, all you got to do is ask about it. I'm caught up on the manga. I am not caught up on the anime yet. It's really hard for me to get caught up in animes. So with like anime and stuff, you can't necessarily put it on and do another task. And here's a bit of Mav lore in case you guys didn't know that. But I have pretty bad ADHD. I take meds for it, obviously, but I can get really distracted really easily. Sometimes I need to fidget while I'm doing a task. You know how it goes. So it's really hard for me to just like sit down and watch. And so I dedicate most of my energy in a week to that. Like if I'm going to sit down and watch something straight on, I try to reserve that for tokusatsu, because most anime has a manga that I can go read, and I prefer reading manga. I much more prefer like comic art over animation art. Just a personal preference. Both are amazing. Both have incredible things to offer. It's just my personal preference. And so, yeah, like it's hard for me to sit here and go like, let me watch this anime when I could just be like, I could read all of this in like an hour if I just read the manga. So the most I can say about the anime so far is that from what I've seen from the episodes I have seen, the clips that are going around, it's beautiful. This is like one of the most beautifully animated shows in a long time. I'm very happy so many people are about it, because I think this series has one of the funnier premises of... So this is another bit of Mav lore or a personal thing, but I am very much a believer in, you know, the hoopa joopa of life. Like what we see cannot be everything. I don't know what it is, but there's stuff out there, right? There's got to be other things. So that includes like ghosts and aliens and whatever. So to have the two main characters be like, I believe in ghosts, but not aliens. I believe in UFOs, but not ghosts. Like I really like that sort of dynamic. And then, as you guys know, I'm a sucker for a good cutesy, like really true love story. And that's kind of what those two have. So we'll probably talk. Now that I know people want to talk about it, I'll just have to go get caught up and we can talk about it. Seems to be the case. A lot of kid actors that started out at Disney. Keke Palmer. Disney kid actors are not doing it hot lately. I don't know if all of you guys, this isn't TMZ, but in case you guys didn't see the Britney Spears stuff, she was in the Mickey Mouse Club and it's not going great for her right now. It's kind of worrying. It's kind of weird. Timon says, we need a watch party for old tokusatsu. Oh, 1000%. I genuinely, like, I have a show that I'm working on with a buddy that is us doing sort of red letter media style discussions about Toku. And we go through, like, episodes and seasons, and we go sequentially so people could follow along if they want. So I need to finish that. But in terms of a watch party, I do want to do that. I think it's going to have to wait until our community is bigger. Otherwise, it's just going to be like you, me, and like maybe Sakura. You know what? Maybe I'm not against that. That could be fun. But we'll probably do it in a Discord, because if you guys know Toei, or just, Toei in particular, you show us, like, if I breathe the words, like, Super Sentai, they're going to come and flag this channel and be like, that's a copyright. So we got to be careful about it. Punk says the one with Psylocke and Rogue is really cool. Yeah, I really like this one. I'm a big fan of scarf designs. So like, you know, your Kamen Riders, your Proto-Mans, your Ryomas from Mazinger. So seeing Psylocke with this on, I was like, okay, that's pretty damn cool. Like, I want to see more of that. Caveat, what is going on? How you doing, buddy? Always a pleasure to have you. Just got done watching I Am Legend with family. The 2008 like Will Smith one. I remember really liking that movie as like a dumb teenager. It's still like a pretty decent action flick, but I cannot stand when he has to kill a dog. Like I can't do it. I'm very bad with violence against animals, like especially like pups, and I get it. And I think maybe that makes it worse because it's like, I get it. It's a necessary thing, but and he does it with his hand, but it's like, can't do it, man. Can't watch that scene. Yes. Okay. You did watch that one and you watched both endings. Which one do you guys like more? I know everybody is always divided, or at least maybe not your family, but what about you, Caveat? Which one do you like more? Timon says, where do I subscribe? Buddy, you are already in the Discord server. That is exactly where it will be announced. Dude, we are so far from any sort of Patreon subscription service right now. Like, no way, guys. Right now, I'm just focused on hanging out with you guys, delivering a good show every week, getting your spirits up, talking about like things we like. If this can make money someday, that'd be rad. But for right now, love the game. My wife don't like it either, and it's one of my favorite movies. I mean, I like it. I like the movie. It's just that scene. I am always like, this fucking sucks. This sucks. I also really, I know everybody talks about it, but the small Batman Superman mention that was like the Easter egg teaser that they put in that movie, very funny since it was like 10 years before they actually did that. But before we made that detour into sourcing and everything because of Shinkai, we were talking about Spider-Man's costumes and how his introduction suit is pretty damn bad, or his introductory offering of suits is pretty terrible. So then we get the Spider-Man No Way Home suit that I was talking about a second ago, right? Like the one with the chunky Tony armor on it, the weird gauntlets that don't really serve any purpose. I've always hated them. This is more like his Endgame suit. I don't know why they call it No Way Home, but this one I don't like pretty much all of his MCU suits. I kind of like the first one from Civil War, and I like the shiny one from the end of No Way Home, but all the other ones I'm not sold on. So I don't like this. I get why it's in here. I don't like it, but it's the least offensive to me. You know what I mean, guys? It's like, okay, whatever. It's the movie suit. Throw it in there. Sure. Let's see. Oh, Reeve, I know JoJo has a dog die in quite a few parts. Trust me. Iggy lives on. Caveat ties, just to wrap up the I Am Legend. Tough call. The theatrical is a bit more standard and hopeful, but the original is bolder and the movie is clearly set up for it. It's also more philosophically stirring. That's exactly sort of the read I have on it. I always prefer the original ending, but the theatrical one has its merits. And yeah, exactly. No way like. And so then we have this. Like, are you fucking kidding me? 4 suits at launch, and you picked Chasm? You didn't, like, even my fucking hate of this character and where he's gone in the recent years aside, you didn't pick the Iron Spider, you didn't pick the Symbiote, you didn't pick 2099, which came from, like, is currently, like, your biggest seller. You didn't pick Miles, right? Like, genuine surprise that you didn't pick Miles' suit. And yeah, I'll go personal for a second and go, why the fuck did you choose this one over either Ben's sensational suit or his hoodie suit, which everybody loves? Guys, nobody likes Chasm. I go on comic book Twitter all the time. I look up things. I see how people are reacting. Everybody hates him. They're a lot like me, where they go, there are some cool elements to his design. We like the color scheme. We like the God of War web shooters, but this shouldn't be Ben. This should be anybody else. So, like, I am just genuinely, I guess this is his most recent costume? But even that's not true. Hold on, no. His most recent costume was that stupid one with like the goblin orbs on it that he got from Norman. This is, or if you want to get technical, it's his goblin suit, the purple webbed Green Goblin suit. Really, Caveat? Chasm is your favorite? Oh man, you are a pilgrim in a strange land right now, because this is an anti-Chasm zone till the day I die and somebody takes over the show. But those are the 4 offerings they came out with, and I'm just like, why? You could have, there's so much more you'll do, and yes, they will probably come, but I'm just genuinely baffled by this decision. And what makes, and it's not so much, oh, okay. Damn it, Caveat. Genuinely got, yeah, you got me and Timon, like, kick him. Spider-Man and Guts, 2 characters that know pain. Oh, at this point, yeah, they would have the most legendary like bender if they just got together and like talked about their problems with like some beers. They would be donezo. But so, all in all, I hate these suit selections. I will definitely wait to buy one when an actual cool suit comes out. On its face, obviously, I would always be unhappy that Chasm was in this game. I'm unhappy anytime Chasm shows up anywhere and his name is not the Scarlet Spider. However, what makes this even weirder to me, and kind of even more insulting to me, and probably to players, but this is my show, I'm going to talk about my feelings. But what makes it even weirder to me is that it's not just a suit, guys. They put him, well, let me just show you. So, this is each character. If you guys had played Overwatch, you might remember that at the end of the game, if you were the best player, if you got play of the game, MVP, there's a little highlight of your character. They do like a quick action, and then it shows the clip that got you the accolade. If you buy No Way Home, if you buy the No Way Home skin, his highlight intro is that scene, as we can see here from No Way Home, where all 3 Spider-Men get ready to fight. Well, it's not the Sinister Six, but, you know, Sandman, Electro, Green Goblin. So we all see it. We all recognize it. For some reason, Chasm like is included in this. That is who leaps in with Peter. And okay, maybe this is one that will change in the future, and maybe it cycles in different suits, but it didn't do that when I was previewing it at all. It always put Chasm in that spot, and the standard one in that spot. No Bagman, no anything. So it's like, I wrote this on Twitter. I was like, you don't even go. Oh yeah, it's right there. Like, you don't even go here. Right? Like, why are you putting him in this scene? He has no relation to this scene. There's nothing here. He's not Peter. He's not Spider-Man. He's not an MCU character. He's out of place. It doesn't make any damn sense. Like, if you wanted to do if you're going to use 3 different suits, right? Like, because you're not going to have Toby and Andrews in here. You could do No Way Home, the one on the right, yeah, our right, which is the Marvel Rival skin, and then on his other one, give him a classic comic book costume. So then it's like all 3 main representations in terms of this game are here. But no, for some reason, bingo, he thinks he's part of the squad, but just the 3rd Ghidorah head. Dude, he's not even a Ghidorah head. This is like if Ghidorah's 3rd head got lobbed off, and then they put Rodan's head onto Ghidorah's body and said, that's good, we're good, go for it. Yeah, Spider-Man Noir would have been a better choice. Genuinely, I know, like, this is how fucked up this choice of Chasm on the screen is. Miles Morales would have made more sense as the 3rd one over there, right? Like, Chasm does not belong there, period. But it gets worse, guys, because it's not just this shot. They also decided, so this is a spray that you can get in the game, right? We all know how sprays work. If you're looking at a wall, throws up that little image, fun little marker for yourself, whatever, yada, 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 yada. So this one I know doesn't change because it's a static image. Why is Chasm there? Why is he pointing? Like, he's not part of that meme, right? Like, the meme, I still, okay, yeah, as I tweeted here, like, I don't quite know if I have the words yet to verbalize why this makes me angry. I I still don't have it perfect, but maybe, you know, I'll get into it and maybe you guys can help me. Maybe somebody will give me the right words. Maybe you guys will know what I'm talking about. But it's like sort of what I was talking about with the last shot. It's just incoherent. The original Spider-Man meme of all of them pointing at each other was 3 Spider-Men dressed in the same costume from the 60s show. Then when they recreated that meme for the movie, it was 3 Peters. So yes, they had different suits on, but they had 3 different Peter Parkers. And that was sort of the unifying thing. It's like, you're Peter Parker, you're Peter Parker, I'm Peter Parker, you're Peter Parker. Here, you have 2 Spider-Men, 2 Peter Parkers, a Ben Reilly who fucking hates him and doesn't identify as a spider person. It doesn't... Yes, I can see, like, oh, he's a clone, so of course he's included. Like, but that's like a stretch. That is genuinely like making an excuse for it. You know what I mean? It's so. Oh, I don't know what I like. Someday, guys. Maybe it'll be next week. Maybe I'll tweet it or whatever. But like, this shit. I don't know. Like, it feels like an insult to Ben fans because everybody knows. You know, nobody likes Chasm. Everybody likes Ben. Everybody likes Ben as a counterweight to Peter Parker. Nobody likes this. What is he doing here? He's not even from like the same universe as any of them, right? Like that's what I don't get. That there's no thematic continuation. There's Peter Parker Marvel Rivals, Peter Parker MCU, Ben Reilly Chasm. Not Peter Parker, you know, Spectacular Spider-Man animated, not Peter Parker, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, or like just a standard comic book one. It's a random, unrelated sort of character. It would be like if you were doing I was going to make like a Bat Family comparison, but literally all of the tangentially related characters are already considered part of the Bat Family, so I can't really go down that route. Yeah, exactly, Shinkai. It's making a reference for the sake of making a I think this is touching on what it is, right? Like, this is a surface level understanding of what that meme was. Oh, 3 spider people. They're pointing. Haha. You don't, but it sort of ignores like for lack of a better term, like the cultural history behind it, how the meme got started, what it originally was, what the context is to just have your visual. And who said it right here? Yeah, you said it, Shinkai. Yeah, you remember this? That this is a really big member berry, and I just noticed this. Marvel Studios Spider-Man, No Way Home, like, these 2 motherfuckers are not Andrew Garfield and Tobey. That makes me even more mad, because you've got Tom there, who was in that movie, and is a Spider-Man, and has done this meme with them, and you're just throwing it out for whatever. So, I'm just pissed. Again, if it was just Chasm's costume, I might have been able to be, like, we could have all laughed, and we could have all made fun of each other, or you could have all made fun of me, but ultimately, at the end of the day, I could have been like, whatever, I'm just not going to buy it. But, and I mean, like, I don't have to buy this either, but it's just sort of like, I'm probably going to see a highlight intro like this in some match. I'm going to see somebody make the spray. I'm just going to constantly keep seeing Chasm around. And again, most people aren't going to feel this strongly about it like I am, but I fucking hate him. I hate what he represents. I hate how he exists. I hate where he came from. And yet, he keeps coming back. He keeps coming back. It's like you guys can see it right here. I told Andrew. So I noticed that in this shot, Chasm is standing in the spot of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man from the movie. And that's my favorite movie Spider-Man. I really like Andrew Garfield in suit, but overall, I think probably a bit of nostalgia, and it was just the one that I grew up with. I'm a Tobey guy. I'm always going to be a Tobey guy. So, like, yeah, this all feels like a personal attack directly from God. I was like so excited for Marvel Rivals, like, yes, this is what I want, and then it just sort of like last second needles me with all of my like weak spots. It's just awful. Volume Dealer asks, so those are the skins. These are 3. So what we were looking at a second ago, that was a spray of the skins. Here is an ending card, like a highlight intro with 3 of the skins on them. And since I'm presuming you got here late because I had not seen you earlier, Volume Dealer, what's up, my buddy? And I was going to like say, I looked at because we looked at these earlier, or they were on my Twitter, right? And you replied to them, but I was gonna shout you out, and I noticed you weren't here, and I was like, oh, volume dealer, no. But yeah, we've only got 4 costumes so far: Spider-Man, an ugly Amazing Bagman one that's not Amazing Bagman, the No Way Home shot or suit, and unfortunately Chasm. Now there is a 5th one. It is sadly, so this one's probably even more infuriating than Chasm, and I'll explain to you why. So this right here, in case you guys hadn't seen it. Yeah, I just got on. You did respond on X. That's what we were talking about it earlier, and I was going to be like, oh yeah, I was talking with Volume Dealer earlier, and you weren't in here, and I was like, no volume. But all I'm saying is I'm happy to see you, buddy. Glad you're here, even if it's just for a little bit, since we're coming up on the end of the show. But on this, so this skin, when they first announced this game, they announced that if you got the game on PlayStation, you would get an exclusive Scarlet Spider skin. That was the name they used. They said Scarlet Spider. Obviously, without any images, me and everybody else went, Ben lives! Ben lives! We finally get justice. When it finally came to release it, and we got our first look at it, this is what we got. So it is a Scarlet Spider suit, but it is Kane's suit, which, you know what? I'm not against. There's that initial disappointment of like, it's not Ben. Rats. But I do like this suit. I actually really like Kane's run as Scarlet Spider. There's a lot of good stuff there. Again, shout out Christos Gage, sleeper hit writer of the Marvel Comics offices. So, if this was just the Scarlet Spider 2 suit, Kane's suit, black and red, I wouldn't be against it. I would be like, that's all right, fine. A little bummer that it's not the hoodie, but let's roll with it. Problem is, they didn't even do that. This is literally just a recolor of standard Spider-Man. So as you can see here, he's still got all the webs. He's still got all the stupid gloves. He's got all the stupid dividers, all the damn MCU lines. He just happens to be colored black and red. So, for those of you who don't remember what he looks like normally, what's a good shot of my boy? Oh, hell yeah, David Marquez. You know I gotta go with a David Marquez piece. Shoot. So this is what Kane looks like normally, right? He has like a standard spider suit, but it's kind of flat, no webbing, and yeah, black and red. Very simple. Honestly, like, it's genuinely a cool suit. But it's in the simplicity that it works, right? As soon as they decided to like throw the webbing on here, and I still don't know what it is. So Sakura says, bruh, that's lazy. I highlight this comment because what I was literally about to say is, you can ask Andrew. I've been ranting about this for like 2 or 3 days now. I mean, I've ranted about it before, but because the game came back on our radars, I got reminded of it, and I've been bitching about it in Discord since then. But like, something about the webbing being on here makes me beyond angry. Like, you guys didn't get, like, you got an assignment and you didn't do it. Like, you didn't have to do that. Like, it's easier to make a model without throwing a webbing mesh on it. You didn't have to do this, and yet you did. Is it laziness, like Sakura says here? Well, that's crazy because, like, if we go here, Chasm doesn't have his webs. He has a completely different outlook. I mean, they even modeled extra things on the No Way Home suit for him. Bagman is a complete different model with some stuff taken off, some things added. And yet when you say we're going to give you the Scarlet Spider, all you can do is like repaint it. It's just, I don't know. It makes me genuinely fear. This is the opposite. So remember how much praise I was giving a second ago to the fact that they cited everything and how cool that was and how dedicated it seemed? This and the last point, or this and the Chasm, like, cosmetic things we were just talking about, this is the sort of stuff that makes me go like, what the hell? Because it's sort of so lazy, so lame, that it doesn't feel like it lines up with the rest of the package that we've been looking at, right? So I don't know there's no schedule thing for the costumes yet. We don't, again, game is brand new. Nobody knows how seasons will work, yada, yada, yada. I know we will probably get more suits that I would personally be rocking, right? I don't know anymore because of Marvel, and especially with Chasm's inclusion, if we'll get Ben with his hoodie, but we're probably going to get the symbiote. We'll probably get the original Iron Spider, which is one of my favorites. Yeah, so it'll come. I just really disagree with, like, I feel like at launch you should be putting your best foot forward. Chasm and Bagman and the No Way Home suit are not your best feet forward. So overall, honestly, like, I'm just nitpicking right now. I'm just, saying things that I don't like personally that I would have changed. But the game is good. People are loving it. It is blowing out player counts. Again, as soon as I'm done with bounding work for the night, I will be hopping on this. If you're in the Discord, feel free to send maybe I'll start a room and we can all share friend codes or something and we can all play. Might be cool. Who knows? Maybe I'll even stream it tomorrow and present a parallel stream to Andrew's. No, that's not fair. I'll stream after Andrew. I'm not gonna take his thunder. But Star Wars Hunters has a lot of color palette reskins that are free. That's upsetting to hear because that's the shit that should be here, right? Like, this should be free. I mean, it is free, but it shouldn't be I don't know. You guys know what I mean. It shouldn't be a special thing. It should just be, here it is. It's the black and red Spider-Man. Also, I've heard Star Wars Hunters was, like, fun. I haven't played it because, again, hero shooters, I was a little out and burnt on them until you put an IP that I really love on it. So, and it's also Star Wars where, like, you say Star Wars to me and I just, like, instantaneously. So, I hope I've heard it's good. I wish more companies would just give more free stuff like that, even if it's just simple palette swaps. But yeah, no idea what's going on with, I don't know much about Hunters. Corey says, I gotta head to bed. Got work as always. Later, Mav. Later, Corey. Don't worry. Oh, we are already at 2.5 hours, so we'll probably just make it through these last couple chats, talk about any last points, and then we're probably out of here. So you're not gonna miss much. I'll talk to you soon and get some rest, buddy. You always gotta get up at like 5 a.m. Volume Dealer says they added a new bow hunter that is the 4th feminist looking dude female they added in a row. Are you talking about in Star Wars? I mean, that sounds about right for Star Wars, doesn't it? If the game went full EA, it's DOA. Right, exactly. And I'm glad that this game hasn't gone full EA. Like, again, there are things that I really, really like about its presentation. All the skins are, $12 compared to 20. The characters and maps will all be free. Another cool thing is, like, if you buy a battle pass and you don't finish it in that season, you can keep leveling it even later on. You can still get it all. It doesn't disappear, right? Like, the last Fortnite battle pass, I got all the way to the last thing except for Shuri's Black Panther suit, and I didn't really care about it, like, admittedly, but pass ended and I can't get it anymore. So it's a bummer because I'm a completionist. I don't care about it, but I'm a completionist. So again, good things are this is at least right now. Obviously, this game is from NetEase, which is based in China, so be very careful about the future. But I will say, at least right now, for launch, this game is a step in the right direction, right? Like, microtransactions should be cosmetic only. You should be able to get your battle pass all the time. So, yeah, if it does go full EA at any point, dead. 100% dead. Oh, Hunters, she's not bad, but it's hard to control on the phone. I need a controller. Oh, a Zabrak. Dude, I see people, like, use control, like, they always sell controllers at, like, the Apple store, or I always have the option, like, if I'm playing on my controller and I look at, like, the Bluetooth settings on my phone, it always has the option to link it, and I'm like, I feel like the second I have to use a controller for a game, like a mobile game, that's, like, it's no longer a mobile game, right? And, okay, that makes more sense, Volume. Like, I would do it on PC, because that makes sense, but I'm not going to lug around, like, a controller. I've never been able to do it. My phone should be able to, everything should just be right here. This is where everything is. This is where, here, I can even, right, on my magic phone, this is where everything should be. I don't need extra accessories or anything. Man, the light focusing was crazy on that end. Let's see. Yeah, I genuinely think that is probably all we have to talk about tonight, guys. I know that I mentioned Gundam Cuckoo Cuckles, but I think, you know, that's going to be a discussion that'll take a lot of time. The series is forthcoming, so we'll have a lot of opportunities to talk about it. Maybe we'll even talk about it next week when we have more time. But with that explosion of anger towards Chasm and the bad decisions from Marvel Rivals, I think that is where we are going to call it tonight. So, as always, everyone, I want to thank every single one of you for coming and hanging out with me tonight, whether you actively chatted or you're just watching, or even if you're in the VOD and you're watching this a couple hours, days later. I genuinely thank every single one of you for hanging out with me. I do this show for you. I want to be able to start our weekends off on a positive note. So if it weren't for you guys being my audience, I couldn't do this show and we couldn't be here. So this is all, you guys are the reason we're here. Thank you to all of you, from Corey to Volume Dealer to Shinkai to Timon to Sakura to Caveat to Dante to Andrew to Reeve to, I don't think maybe Zero. He might have said hi. If he did, I did not catch him. Friggin' Punk, I know you were here. So thank you guys all for hanging out. I love seeing you every Friday. I genuinely do notice and miss you guys when you're not in the chat. So, you know, it's all reciprocal. We're all good. Like I love seeing you guys. Just put it that way. As always, you can check out boundingintocomics.com every day, where we're putting up new news stories, as I've been hinting at throughout the stream. I will be going over there right after this stream. Well, I got to go to the bathroom, but then I'm going to get back to work on bounding stuff. So there will be new articles coming out for you to peruse on Friday night and Saturday morning. Aside from that, if you want to see more of me, you can always follow me right there on Twitter at Kabuto Writer Mav. You can catch me Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time over on the Bounding Into Comics YouTube channel, where I host the 01 stream, where I hang out with Nerdigans, Jacob, and Cider, and we break down the bigger pop cultural news stories of the week. So if that sounds like something up your alley, we'd love to have you, love to hang out with you. I know a couple of you from here also pop up over there, like Timon and Sakura. So love you guys, see you guys. Always glad to have you. Aside from that, you can catch me Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, that's correct. 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Foil Variant, on the YouTube channel Foil Variant, where me and Andrew talk comic books. We give you intellectually honest discussions about all the books that are coming out, all the books we've read, and maybe, you know, we rant for like 3 hours about The Flash. It's happened more than once, and it's probably going to happen more in the future. And then, as always, guys, you can come back here next week, same Mav time, same Mav channel, for another episode of The Good, The Mav, The Ugly. Hopefully, schedules forgiving. I will be able to have the next layout, or the new layout, completed. If not, we're going to go into the Evangelion Kingdom Hearts rhyming scheme joke, and I kind of want to have a lot of fun with that. But yeah, again, guys, I'm a one-man operation over here. I don't have an editor or anything. This is all me. All the graphics you see, they're made by me. So it takes a little bit, and then I got to set it up. So long story short, it's in the works. It's very close. Hopefully we can get it by next week. And speaking of next week, I hope you guys all come back. I hope you all want to hang out with me next week for The Good, The Mav, The Ugly. As to what we'll talk about, as always, who knows? It's just sort of whatever we want to talk about, whatever comes up through the week, right? So with that, oh yeah, and of course, I tripped myself up. Don't forget that down below in the description to this video is the temporary Discord link for this week's episode. The link is only active for a few hours. I believe it's going to close in about 4 or 5. So if you want to come hang out with us in the Discord, go down to that description, click that link, come hang out with us. To that point, if anybody is checking out Marvel Rivals this weekend and wants to maybe talk strategy or play some matches or what have you, join us in the Discord, reach out to me on Twitter. It's going to be fun on a bun, but you do have to be prepared for me picking Magic like 900% of the time. But aside from that, yeah, everyone, Volume Dealer, Caveat, Shinkai, Sakura, everybody who's still hanging out, that is all we have for this week. Go enjoy your weekend. Have a great one. Go read something enjoyable. Go play a fun video game. Go watch a great movie, if a new one or an old one. You know, I Am Legend is a good recommendation to check out on a Saturday afternoon. So remember, it's kind of crappy out there for all of our hobbies, but the world's not 100% terrible. So until next time, guys, or until I talk to you on Twitter or Discord, I will, take it easy, and I will see you next time.
As the creator of Mara Jade,
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zeb.
No way.
You brought
No
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so
Out.
sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
Out! There.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him like burned and we'll
I don't
execute
even
and
know who
burned.
that guy is.